As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
You got Bobby Roast Beef here. It's Jigs and Bigs podcast. We got Who the Fuck is Joe Brown in the house. Man, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. The Northeast got spanked by Mother Nature, and we're going to talk about when that kind of thing happens. How does it affect the fish? How is it going to affect your plants? And how can you plan for it if that's a situation? So we got that coming up. We have a really wild week in review here. I myself took on a new little challenge, so to speak, and we're going to dive into that. We have 4 different calls in the live well this week. We're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff. And one of the most interesting FTG segments in a while. We'll talk about the details there, but you're not going to want to miss out. We got more Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up. You guys don't want to miss this. Coming up right after this. Another beautiful Sunday morning, and here we are, Joe. You know, this is what we're doing. I got my coffee. You got your coffee already? You already?
I do.
Nice.
No, I got it right here. My McDonald's coffee.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah, my wife had made a pot of coffee. Now our coffee pot here, we're weird. Like, we wanted to get one of those commercial units when we first bought this house and run a water line to it so that we were just like, oh yeah, make the coffee, bang, like one of those bun setups. And where we ended up setting up our coffee maker and stuff, we realized that we're not going to run water there. That ain't going to happen. So what we did was we looked for a coffee pot that has its own water heater. So we have a bun unit that's got a hot water tank on the back. It holds like 2 pots of water. So you add water to it, and then when you start it, it does this exchange where it puts a full pot in. So it brews a full pot every time. The problem is like in the last year, we've scaled down on the amount of coffee that we drink. Big time. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not brewing whole pots anymore because most of it'll get, I'll drink most of it in the day. Usually my wife will have a cup, maybe 2. I've scaled down big time. I have maybe a cup or 2 in the morning. And some days I don't even have coffee, which is who the fuck is this guy?
I keep myself to 1 a day. Fun fact, I may have said it before. I don't drink hot coffee. Don't like it. I'm not a hot beverage guy. I'll only drink iced coffee all year round. But
my kids are like that.
I'm trying to get Meg to scale down. She drinks so much coffee.
I fucking love it. And it's not cheap right now. It's the worst. So she made a pot this morning. What happens is, because we have these lapses, some of that water in that water tank, it basically boils off. You know what I mean? It evaporates. So you'll make a pot and you're 2/3 there, and you have to add a little bit more and then a little bit more to get it back. So this cup is a little bit burly. And I'm okay with that. It's fine. We're gonna get by. It'll be just fine. But man, what a wild week. An absolutely wild week. I've done some shit this week.
Nice.
How's your week been though, Joe? Yeah, good.
Dude, it was well, I'm still dealing with this.
Okay.
Is that
waiting
for the insurance,
or you bleeding through it?
Oh no, that's just the the wrap.
Oh,
the end
okay.
of the wrap.
All right. Holy shit.
Yeah,
I was like,
no, there's
dude,
no,
are
no
you
there's
okay?
no blood, no cuts. So let's talk about the hand.
Yes.
So it's still fucked up, obviously. The swelling is down significantly in the bruising, which is great. However, I still can't move it for shit.
Oh no.
And so did I tell you that I got the MRI results back?
No, you didn't. Last I knew, you had just gone
Let's
on.
read it to the folks. Let's tell them.
Oh, no.
Let me bring it up here. And I was like, and then instantly I went like to Chat GPT. I was like, oh no, what's this mean? And let's see here. Take 2 seconds. It's not good. It's not good.
I would assume so.
Yeah, it's not good. I was a sad panda when I read it and then put it through like Chat GPT.
Oh no.
So I have a high grade partial tear at the distal attachment of the ulnar collateral ligament at the first NCP joint. So let's tell you what that is. This ligament right here that holds like the well, let me go into the camera here. That holds like the thumb to the palm on this hand.
Yeah, like that meaty part in between your index finger and thumb.
Yep. So there's a ligament here that kind of holds your thumb to the hand. That's the one I tore. Also, I have intermediate grade tear of the opponent's malleus muscle. So this thing here is also torn.
Sweet. No wonder why you can't move it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm dealing with. And I'm dealing with, I had to go through the primary care manager to get the referral. I'm waiting for the insurance to to approve the referral. So I still have not seen a specialist. Like,
oh my God.
I still have not seen the specialist. So hopefully this week. But dude, it fucking hurts. Like, it hurts.
I'm sure it does.
And I keep doing something. I'm hoping it's no surgery. I'm hoping they just like, hey, we're just going to cast it for a few weeks. And
like, it's something that could heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and here's the real shitty part. Like, I'm going to have to tell them, like, if they're like, oh, we'll put you in like a removable splint, I'm going to have to tell them, like, can you put me in a cast? And here's why. Almost every night while I'm sleeping, I rip this fucking thing right off.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because I get uncomfortable, dude. I'm just like, fuck this. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it hurts so bad.
Yeah. So if it's on a cast, you can't take it off. And then, that makes sense.
So Meg's like, I'm coming with you because I'm going to have to tell them because you keep ripping it. Like, she's found it like up by her pillow when she wakes up in the morning. It's been like on the floor next to the fucking. She's like, you gotta stop. Like, it's not gonna heal if you keep fucking doing that. So that's what I'm dealing with that.
It's fucking terrible, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking it's awful. Hold on. Here's Meg. Hold on, babe. Here's Meg right here. So I DoorDash coffees again, and she just came down because she's like, hey, here's your coffee. They sent us 3 instead of 2. So that's a win. So sweet. I already have mine. We're so lazy, dude. I Sunday mornings I DoorDash coffee. Dude, I don't give a fuck.
You got to do what you got to do. We're going to talk about DoorDash in a minute when I go over my week. Big letdown last night.
But yeah, so the rest of my week, man, obviously nothing fishy. I mean, unfortunately. Dude, but I did go down and spend a little time at the Cape.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. You had that fucking boys trip.
Little boys trip. We are not young anymore.
No.
we are not young anymore.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so I went down to so my friend, my very close friend of mine, one I joined the military with, his family has, his wife's family has a Cape house down there.
Nice.
So it's down in Wellfleet. So went down there. It's like 3. I'm a very I think we've talked about. I'm very like anti-Cape. Like, I hate the Cape. Like it's like I don't know. I'm very anti-Cape. I was like, yeah, dude, I'll come down. There's like 8 of us, like all like just military buddies and like a bunch of us. And so dude, my buddy, I'm not going to name names. I don't even know if he listens, but he's so they went a day before me. They went Thursday. I went down there, or some of them went Thursday. I went Friday. These motherfuckers are talking about how they ate, between the three of them, they ate 84 oysters, raw oysters, between the three of them.
Okay, nice.
I'm like, okay. I was like, I love oysters.
Really?
Dude, so,
all right, okay.
Oh, I love them. So this is where this story is gonna come back around. The 84 oysters is gonna come back around. So I get there, dude, and it's just obviously just immediately just a drinking fest.
Of course. Yeah.
We went to a couple restaurants. We went to this place behind a restaurant. It's called the Bomb Shelter, right? And it's wicked small. Like, it's smaller than my brother's place. You know what I mean? There's just a wicked dive bar, like straight up dive bar. So in the military, right, we call where we store our munitions and everything the bomb dump, right?
Gotcha.
And it's like a prestigious term for us. Like, it's where all of our explosives go.
Yeah.
So we're just drunk idiots playing pool or whatever. And I was able to play some pretty good pool because the pool cue went in there perfectly, right?
Built-in bridge, yeah.
So anyway, we kept calling it the bomb dump. We're like, oh, we fucking love this place, the fucking bomb dump. They were getting so mad because they didn't understand that term.
Yeah.
So they thought we were just calling their place a dump, dude. So like the bartender's he's like, it's the fucking bomb shelter, not the bomb dump. And
Awesome.
So, dude, we're just like, we go back to the house, dude. And obviously the drinking kept going. And then my buddy is like, so he starts like, he keeps like going, like disappearing. And I'm like, dude, I was like, what's going on? Like, what's up? He's like, I cannot stop shitting.
Oh,
like, I can't stop shitting. Like, he's like, he's drunk as hell.
Oh my God.
His stomach's all fucked up. He's like, dude, I'm like really fucked up. So we get back to the house. I don't know. So like I'm guessing it was like the 84 fucking boogers he ate.
Probably.
Giant boogers he ate.
Just like,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but dude, he was fucked up though, like to the point where, dude, he's just on the toilet for like an hour. We're like coming in and bringing him like electrolytes. Like, I had Imodium in my mouth. Like, here you go, dude. Like, we're just like trying to we're all like stumbling around, just drunk idiots, fucking breaking shit at the house, and like it was and I go to bed, dude. There's like 15 beds in this house, right?
Yeah.
Somehow I ended up on the couch. Like, I don't even remember going to bed. I end up on the fucking couch. The AC broke. So it's like 80 degrees, dude.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I was just like ripping clothes off in the middle of the night. Fucking my buddy Cal, he ended up like on the couch next to me because he was upstairs. He's like, dude, it was so fucking hot up there. I couldn't even breathe. Like, so we're just, it was to the point I woke up, dude, like at like 6:37, just sweating, like no shirt, just like just underwear, and I just went straight outside. Like, I just had to cool off. I was just like, and I walk out. There's like two of the other guys are already out there, like, it's so fucking hot in there. So we're all just like literally just in our underwear on the deck, you know what I mean? But dude, I was so hungover. I haven't been hungover in a long time. Yep. To the point where I was like, and all I drank was beer. I didn't do shots, nothing like that.
No shit.
To the point where I was like, we all cracked a beer right there at like 7 a.m. We're like, we got to level out. We got to level out. So, yeah, but, and I left, I had my sister's baby shower yesterday. So I unfortunately had to leave early, to try to make an appearance at that. But, dude, what a good time. Awesome. It was one of those times where we're like, all right, we're going to make this a yearly thing, you know?
That's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, dude, outside of that, we went and looked at campers last weekend. That's getting real for you guys. Yeah. We went and looked at them. I got to trade my truck in, dude. I don't know if I told you that.
Why? You need a different tow package?
Yeah. So with the lift and shit that's in it, like, it's just not conducive to tow something like that.
No, it's totally not.
Which it's like the first time ever where I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to trade it in, but that'll be fine.
Are you looking at a fifth?
Yeah.
Yeah, that explains it. Yep.
Yeah. Like, dude, it's like they're like 45, 46 feet because we're going to be in them for like a month, 2 months at a time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So, and we were looking at the toy haulers, not because we're hauling toys. Well, number one, it would be nice to have a golf cart for
a lot of these places it would be, yeah, or even a side by side or something like that. Yeah.
But the one thing, and I was one of the people that thought this, like when I think toy hauler, I'm like, oh, it's just like wasted space that you just no, dude. Like they turn into like straight up, like once you just take that golf cart out, they turn into fucking these huge like family room type spaces.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean?
You
like
can get furniture
beds
and
couches. Yeah, it's not wasted space.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and like even if I didn't have like a golf cart or something, like it could be legit, could be like Meg's office. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's kind of where we were going at with that. So yeah, so just kind of looking at them, just kind of seeing the layouts and stuff they wanted. Dude, they're impressive. Once you actually like, it was one thing to look at them and like online. Once you go and step into them, you're like, this is nicer than my fucking house. You know what I mean?
Dude, some of those are crazy, man. They really are
crazy. The amenities and like they're expensive, but you're like they're not as expensive as I would have thought for like, you know what I mean?
And it gets with a purchase like that. If you're going to get the use out of it, then yes, you need to. You know what I mean? It's like it is what it is. The expensive part with a lot of those is like because there's only so many places you can actually park a trailer that size, and oftentimes like you're paying a premium for that space because you're so limited. You know,
but that's 100%. Awesome. But dude, we did that. So we're kind of just
you're gonna have big old mirror extensions on your fucking mirrors and shit on your truck and everything.
Oh, that's a good. So like I have a 2,500 net. Dude, this thing weighs like the one where we're looking at weighs like 18,000 pounds. Yeah, like it's a big bitch.
You need like a 1-ton pickup.
So so I would get a 3,500. I was even thinking about getting like a dually. You know what I mean?
Oh, I would.
And, and the good thing is like, you know, Meg's like when we go cross country, I probably won't bring the boat. Like, just because that's just like number one, like we'd have to be driving separately. Like, obviously, like up and down the East Coast, shit like that, I'm bringing the boat. But when we go like out to the West Coast, I'm not going to bring it. But like even like, so I got to teach Meg how to tow the boat with her car, like because her Wagoneer will tow the boat, no problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we gotta do that. But yeah, dude, outside of that, man, it was a good week. Yeah, I'm excited. Good. I just want to get this fucking thing fixed, dude. I want to get on the water. Dude, I'm itching. I'm like sad. I want to get on the fucking water.
I was out twice this week, and there were instances both times where I was like, fucking poor Joe. This sucks.
The good thing is like I can do this now. Like I can pretty much touch him.
That's
so
big.
Like I can move I can't move the thumb, but I can move my index finger. So if they put this thing in a fucking cast, I'll still be able to fish.
You'll still be able to reel in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I can't do it with this thing, but yeah, so I think it'll still be game on. We'll see. I want to wait and see what happens because if they do surgery on, I won't be able to. But if they just throw me to a cast or something, I think I'll be money.
And they might not want to do surgery for the simple fact that they don't want to put like any additional shit into the, you know.
Sure.
Especially because you're young, you know what I mean? Like if they can, it might be different if they're like, well, you're going to lose all mobility. So it's like, you're going to spend the next 20 years, the rest of your life doing that.
Sure.
But you know, man, that's crazy, dude. That's fucked.
So that part I'm miserable about. I just want to fucking fish, man.
Yeah, no, I fucking hear you, dude. I fucking hear you.
Tell me about your week, man. I've seen some pictures, videos. Like I'm excited to get the lowdown.
Yeah, so my week was kind of interesting. I made a little post on Instagram. This is just on Friday, and I did it. It was like a little declaration. I'm starting a YouTube, like a blow up your channel YouTube challenge, a 90-day challenge, and this is like, you know, every once in a while I look at like YouTube Studio and these numbers and stuff, and I'm just like, man, now I kind of gave myself last year and a good chunk of like getting into this year to just sort of like give myself like free reign and like have fun with videos, learn like my editing style, play around with a couple of things. And I feel like I've got pretty good command of like what I like, and like some of the content that I'm putting together, but I'm not really seeing, and I am putting the effort in, but there are some bad habits. Like I call myself out on one of my upcoming videos. I'm like, I'm guilty of like lazy YouTube creation, because like I won't necessarily plan, and some of this comes from the type of content that I do, that it's fishing. Like I don't want to go out with a script of like, hey, so today I'm fishing the sack pig traveler, rat, and then here I am dependent, like that video could take weeks to come up on some decent fish on, you know what I mean? Versus what I'll do is I'll go fish, but I think I have a couple of tricks up my sleeve to utilize intros to create some the curiosity in what I'm doing, to intrigue people about what I'm doing, versus just going on the water and like talking. And like some of the stuff I've had is like, it kind of reminds me of like watching like an old fishing TV show, except with a foul mouthed, inexperienced piece of shit at the helm. And, I kind of like, I lean into that, but I want to do more with it. So I'm going to try to put some effort into it. So the next few weeks are going to be sort of like planning and like observing some other like creation styles and like breaking down like the ultimate goals of where I want to be. And then we've got like a 4 or 5 week window where it's like crunch time, and I'm going to be doubling my regular post series. So I normally post like once a week. I'm not counting the podcast. I'm not counting any of the live stream stuff, because all that stuff's for the jig heads only. And I'm not counting any short form stuff. These are just long form videos that I'm focusing on. So I'll be doing 2 a week for like basically the entire month of October, really. And then we'll get into November, and there I'm going to be taking like a 3-week period and going through this intensive like sort of like the big project, the final. So sure. I'm not 100% sure what that is. I'm in the process right now of coming up with a list of topics that I want to kind of make sure to hit and go and shoot. I did get out on the water on, I think it was Thursday. I went out with Eleanor. I was like, look, I'm going to get out. I've been toying around with some stuff. The big thing this week is that I did install the bow mounted electronics. That was the big one.
Yeah, about time.
That was the big one. I think I got that done on Tuesday.
Yep.
I was out, and what I did was I poached my Sport Track adapter, the ones that Yak Attack makes. I took my cup holder off, and I took the mounting stuff from my kayak that I had been using for my my Lowrance Hook 7, and I took some of the mounting gear off, and I put the Striker 4 on that. So I have this nice like adjustable arm that comes up off of the side. It's not actually drilled into the boat, which I kind of like, because I can play with where I'm moving it. I snagged power right off the plug of my trolling motor.
Hell yeah.
So I took the plug apart, and then I took the positive and negatives, and I fed them in and just tightened down those fasteners so they're in there real good. I just want to get some heat shrink tubing to like clean it up so it's nice and everything's all set. So that's really like it. But I've used it on the water twice now. The first day I went out, I was like, I just want to like see how this works, everything. Man, what a difference. I fished the Connecticut River. It was a grind. And I'll tell you, like I was actually talking with Sean, and he's like, so you're going to use the transducer in your trolling motor? He's like, dude, how is that going to work? Because the trolling motor is spinning, like it's going to turn and it's going to change what it's looking. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. But either number one, it compensates for the way that it turns. I'm thinking either there's some, I don't know the ins and outs necessarily, but no, it's fully functional. It's pretty freaking awesome, man.
Oh yeah.
And what a game changer. I'll tell you the biggest thing that I miss, fucking water temp. Water temp is the biggest thing that I miss not knowing, Yeah. And I was surprised. Water temps I was seeing, I was in Massachusetts, and I had water temps at like 67, 68. And then I was in Vermont earlier yesterday, and I saw water temps at 64, 65. And I was like, well, this is much cooler than I thought. It really was. Yeah. I'm like, it really is much cooler than I thought. It is really nice just having that depth there. Every once in a while, I'll see like a rock pile deep or something. And yesterday there was a couple instances where that paid off. It was good. So it was really nice. I was out there with Eleanor. On Thursday, I only had, I think I only put one fish in the boat. Went down. I was like, I'm going to go and target smallies, and I'm going to start at one of my favorite spots and just work my way upriver. I got up to a marina, and I found one that was off a dock. They just weren't chasing anything. It was a juvie crawl, like little tiny tube.
Yeah.
And there was one that bit there. I got a couple of follows when I was throwing around like a finesse swim bait, like just looking for fish. And then once I kind of figured out, I was like, okay, so docks with, some shade, maybe they're close to that, and there were some weeds around. So I was sort of looking for that. Just didn't come up with anything that was decent. Called it a day, got back home, worked that night, went out I had a private event on Friday to work. And then on Saturday, I got up super, and that was a private event. This is amazing. At the end of the night, they had me till 11 o'clock. And for those of you that are considering hiring Bobby Roast Beef as your DJ or for a game show or anything, Bobby Roast Beef ends all of his events at the time he is scheduled to, exactly every time. And that's what I did last night. But here's the miraculous thing, Joe. I called my wife half a mile down the road from the venue, all loaded up, 19 minutes later after the song stopped. That's how fast my teardown was. I was out the door because I had to get up at like 4:45, and I had a long ride up into Vermont because I'm at Binya, and there's a spot up there that we've been toying around with fishing a couple of times. I think it actually was like the first kayak send of the year. This is probably last year. It was probably the first kayak send, and like we went out this one day and it was like 38 degrees. And it snowed. It was so shitty, and the wind was so bad. I think we made it 45 minutes, and we're like, "This is stupid. Let's just call it." So we just called it. I went out and we hit up this spot, and now Binya has fished this spot before, and actually there was one time where he was there, and there was a storm, and he was in it. It was like just raining sideways, and he was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. And pedaled his way back in. He's like, "This is brutal," and he told me like where he had fished. I was like, "Well, we had storms on deck that were supposed to hit, and actually throughout the week we had been planning. We're like, what do you want to do?" It was actually looking like it was going to be thunderstorms most of the day. Like the whole day was going to be a wash. And then we got to about, I think it was Thursday, and things started to get a little bit more reasonable. So we're like, it's not supposed to start now until about 1 or 2 p.m. and it's only like a 40% chance. Let's send it. Let's see what we got. We did pretty good. I mean, we got till about that point, and then where we were, there's one of these big ski resort mountains that's right nearby.
Yeah.
And this mountain's huge. And there was the biggest, blackest storm cloud moving over it and right over to us. And there was a moment where I was like, "Did you feel that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And the air temperature felt like it dropped like 10, 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Like it was just bang. I was like,
"Yep.
All right, let's just put the trolling motor on high, finish fishing this cove, and once it starts to rain or we hear thunder, we're going to hightail it back in," which is what we did. And it was pretty good. I caught a bunch of fish. I'm going to be doing something with that video, just kind of like probably, I don't know. I mean, there really wasn't so much purpose with that necessarily, but it was a good time. Benny and I, when we fish on the boat together, we talk a lot of shit. So some of it I might not want to fucking release. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. And we had a good time. I caught a bunch, dude. I caught a shitload. I caught a bunch on small soft plastic swim baits. I caught a bunch on small jigs on the bottom, targeting a lot of rocks. And most of these fish were actually much more shallow than I had expected. We thought we'd go and experiment out deep and see if we could find some better quality bites, but good, healthy fish. Like it was a really good time. It was a blast. So we had a good time. I called it, but as we got back to the ramp, now I sent you the video of this already, but what happened kind of sucked. I pulled up to the bank, pulled up to the ramp, and I had Binya jump out with my truck keys, and he backed the truck down the ramp, and I pull in, I load the boat up, and the water here was really shallow. And I saw him back, and in fact, I even instructed him. I was like, "Hey, bring the trailer back a little bit more. Let's get her further into the water." So he did, and I came in, I think, probably just a little bit too light in order to be able to get up on the bunks that far. But I power loaded as high as I could, and I was like, "All right, this won't be any problem." And I had to crank in more than I normally do. So I clip the boat on, and I'm cranking with the winch, and I get it up into the position. And as I go to get it so that the eye is meeting the roller, the strap just snaps. like snaps like audibly, and there's video of this, and I turn around and I look at Benny, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, what the hell was that? And we had a little bit of a conversation there. Well, I basically used a series of knots to tighten it up and get it in a position. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get on the highway. And actually, it was probably a better idea that I didn't, because after where we fished, you have to drive it's like 3 miles of off-road kind of shit. It's sketchy. Like, I don't think I might have kissed 20 miles an hour a couple of instances here. It's like, you got to go pretty slow. And I got out to the main road, and then it was just like the sky unleashed, like just a torrential downpour. Crazy dark. So I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll go ahead. Making my way through all these areas, and I stopped to grab a bite to eat and grab a beverage and make my way home. When I got into Massachusetts, it was so much worse. Like, where I was, there were 3 road blockages on my way to get to my house. 3 separate. One was on Route 5, just after I had gone just past Oxbow, actually. And I was almost in Holyoke, and there was a spot. Thank God it's wide enough where I was able to turn around, because they were diverting all the traffic back up. So then I went over into East Hampton, went around the Rotary, and I was like, I'm going to go over the mountain. So I start going that way, and it's a nice straight shot all the way down till you get to the bottom of the mountain before it goes up the hill. And I could see the emergency lights up front. And I was like, God damn it. So I turned down a side street, went around the block, popped back out. I went all the way almost into Westfield, right, to go over by Ashley Reservoir. And I did make it over that way, but on my way there was a tree across the road, and the cleanup crew was like right there, just pushing all the debris off the side of the road. So I was able to get through that one. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. It took me forever to get back home. And then this is the worst part, dude. So I said to my wife, I was like, listen, I'm going to go and fish. And I was like, it's not going to be a crazy long day, because we are going to get some storms. And when they hit, I'm going to come home. And I was like, why don't we order some barbecue from Pit Stop? Dude, I was looking forward to this for days. I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. I'm guessing Pit Stop didn't have any power, because when I put my order in for DoorDash, it got returned. Because and the reason was they were unable to create the order. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. Yeah. So I was like, all right. I was so let down, so unbelievable. I was like, you got to be kidding. I've been looking forward to this. And it was not good. Their barbecue is so good that I was like, fuck it, let's order pizza. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't even want to consider ordering barbecue from somebody else. So I was just like, yeah, fuck that. That's crazy. But yeah, I took a screenshot because it was so bad. I called my daughter on the drive home, and I was like, yeah, I said, where are you? You know, because Holly had a nail appointment that she's going to. So yeah. That's where the storms were. I was just off of 91 there, just north of Northampton. Yeah. It was brutal. We had tornado watches down here. We had my wife says to my daughter, she's like, listen, she goes, I am going to go to my nail appointment. She's like, because it's not doing anything here yet. I can get there beforehand, and if it looks like I'll be there until this thing passes. So she goes and she does her thing. And then she's like, if the rain or the wind gets like really crazy, or you get an alert on your phone, she's like, just take the dogs and go downstairs. Yeah. I called my daughter just to check in and see how she was doing. She's like, oh yeah, I'm in the basement, Dad, blah, 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 blah. I was like, why? And she's like, well, it's raining really hard, and Mom put this idea in my head that there was going to be a tornado. So I'm just down here. I was like, all right. Oh no. That's fine. So I get home. Everything's good. Yeah, everything's cool. But at least she was smart. I'm like, I was like, take the dogs down, you'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But man, I got some crazy shit going on. I got some stuff that I got to get lined up this week for like the YouTube channel. I have to. God, I really got to get on the ball with finalizing the rest of the year for the scavenger hunt tournaments and the Open. I got to get those dates out there, and I finally got the last of the payments for the last slot tournament. So now I can send those payments out. So you guys will be receiving those. Actually, while we're doing that, our top 3 last year, I do want to mention, it was dead on. It was exactly right what we went through. There was one disqualifying fish that I needed to take out of. It was actually Binya's. No, I take that back. Our top three is not the same. So Todd Sefton did have a double entry, and that entry pushed him to fourth place at 101.75. So Todd is in fourth at 101.75. That means third place right now at 111.5 is Steve Galloway. Steve, congrats. Third place prize. And it came down, honestly, dude, it came down to 10 1/4 inches between Binya and Jerry House. Jerry is in second place with a final total of 156 1/4 inches. So, Jerry, awesome job. And then Binya did take it. He was hoping he was going to take it at 166.75 inches. Congrats to Binya. And I told him last night, I was like, I'll PayPal you, this week. And he goes, he's like, I'm just buying tackle with it. He's like, that's really all I'm doing. I'm just fucking buying tackle with it.
Of course.
And I'm like, that is spoken like a true fisherman right there. And I can appreciate that.
Yep.
It was a good week. It was pretty badass. Judging by those numbers, and I talked with Sean a little bit, catch up with him, and he's like, oh, how was the last slot? And I was like, dude, it was under 200 inches, took it. And he's like, for real? I'm like, yeah. It was just happened to be the anglers and where they were in the country and what they were dealing with conditions was just making it a tough bite in an 8-hour day, man. It was brutal, but still, it was the best finish I think I've had so far. So yep. I'm going to take that for what it is, and it was a grind and I saw it to the end. That's all I give a shit about. So I got to tell you, before we get into headlines, we have the wildest FTG this week. The wild. So, I feel like we just talked about this and that this is weird. It was, I think, last week's episode when I had mentioned some of my favorite elements of the podcast. And I mentioned the FTG where you and Bill had called. Yeah. And same fucking thing. We have two people that are involved. I gave them a quick listen. Like, we're going to listen obviously together, but I feel I think they're brothers, and they were fishing, and there was a little bit of a fucking feud, and they listened to the show and they fucking called in.
Stop it on each other.
Yeah. So I don't know if they don't realize that they both listen. I have no idea how this is going to go. It's fucking great though. So we got a good FTG. We also have a really good Just the Tip this week for you guys too, because thunderstorms played a role in how I fished in the last slot tournament, and it was also a major player yesterday as well. So we're going to talk about what actually happens when a storm system moves in. What happens beforehand, what happens during it, what happens afterwards, and also how does this affect different bodies of water as well, and what can you do to kind of capitalize on that. So that's coming up in Just the Tip. We got 4 different calls. We do hear from Klondike Custom Creations' very own Matt Fair this week. Okay. Yep, he calls in the live well. We have a call from Dave Urkey. I think 2 calls from Eli. So it's been kind of nuts, man. It's been nuts. So let's you want to go through some headlines and talk about what's been making news? Oh, I think it's making news.
All right, Bobby. So I feel like I had to go over this because I was getting tagged. I was getting tagged in stories, DMs, all of it. BASS announces major forward-facing sonar rule change for 2026 Elite Series. Here we are again.
Yep.
Wagon wheeling right back to the forward-facing sonar. So, in a move that could reshape professional bass fishing strategy, Bass has announced a major change to its forward-facing sonar policy that will go into effect during the 2026 Progressive Bassmaster Elite Series season. Starting in 2026, forward-facing sonar will only be allowed at 5 of the 9 regular season Elite Series events, with the remaining 4 banning the use of the technology entirely, even during official practice. Which events will permit live sonar will be decided randomly, and the decisions will be revealed during a live show on September 4th at 10 a.m. I do not have those yet. I couldn't find them for some reason. So, but anyway. No single technology should define bass fishing, said Bass CEO Chase Anderson. This balanced approach keeps competition diverse, entertaining, and true to the culture of our sport. The current 2025 rules are one transducer and a maximum one FFS transducer and a maximum of 55 total screenages will remain in place next season. However, 26 will usher in a hybrid schedule where some tournaments will allow forward-facing sonar and others will not. This is a direct response to growing concerns for fans, anglers, and stakeholders that the technology is changing the nature of tournament bass fishing. Even the St. Lawrence River, the final stop of the season, will be subject to a coin flip. That means up to 5 of the 9 events could ultimately ban forward-facing sonar entirely. So, and then it just goes to explain. So, my thoughts on this. I like it. I don't mind. It's not that I like it or hate it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it, like, because that'll give all the people who are always bitching, like, you know, okay, so you don't like using forward-facing sonar. So, okay, these 4 events, I expect you to be in the top 10 then. You know what I mean? They
okay.
You say
I can see it. Like it's a put up or shut up type situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so,
I can see that.
So this might, you know, they might, you know, who knows? Maybe they'll absolutely kill it, but they could have fucked themselves at the same time. Whereas, you know, the young guns, like, hey, you say you can fish without it? Let's see. Especially, let me see if I can, while I'm talking here, see if I can find which lakes. Yeah, so like St. Lawrence River, I'm going to tell you right now, that'll be tough. That'll be tough without.
Isn't that the one that they're leaving up to a coin toss, though? The St. Lawrence?
Yeah, it's they're supposed to not like. Oh, here we go. It was a legit coin flip. Here are the results. So first one is Lake Gunnersville, Scottsboro, Alabama. No forward-facing sonar.
Okay.
Which that's, I mean, a lot of people use it there. February 12th through 15th, Lake Martin in Alabama will have sonar. Tennessee River will have sonar. Tennessee Tom Bigby Waterway will not. Arkansas River will. Lake Murray will. Santee Cooper will not. Was it the Albert? I'm not familiar with this. The Pasquotank River will. Lake Champlain will not.
Wow. Okay.
And then St. Lawrence River will.
St. Lawrence will. Interesting.
Yeah. St. Lawrence will. Champlain will not. So, you know, we'll kind of. So the first tournament is no sonar. So we'll see what happens.
See,
again, that's February 5th.
It's weird because I sort of feel like they didn't like there's a part of me that thinks that because BASS selects the schedule, you know what I mean? And they choose where they're going. The waters that they choose generally are like, do they favor offshore forward-facing, technology, or do they not, based on where they are, what the legal waters are. So I feel like in a way they're kind of just gamifying it for the sake of like, oh, what's it gonna be? Just stirring it up. Like, and did you watch the Milliken response video?
No, I have to watch that stuff.
Oh, dude, you've got to see it.
I'm going to watch it after we get done recording.
Yeah, you definitely should. I won't talk too much about it, though, beforehand. But there's a couple of things that he mentioned in there. Number one is that I guess, like, BASS was touting their, like, record high Nielsen. These are real ratings that actually mean something to, like, someone with a television background like me. Their Nielsen ratings were, like, 20% higher than they had been. But And people are saying, like, oh, yeah, people are watching. Yes, more people are watching. But, like, are more people watching you, or are more people, like, what's larger? The group of people watching, like, elite level tournament bass fishing, or, like, people that are fucking watching like Seinfeld in the 90s. Like, I mean, because in the TV world, you got to look at like, what is it that we're talking? Like, it's great that those ratings are up, but is that really saying anything that you want? And I feel like there's a part of me that kind of feels like BAS is just trolling the audience a little by just doing this. You know what I mean? By just making it an issue when I feel like last season, the changes that they made were like, people were freaking out in the beginning, but I think overall, I think it actually played out well. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know. It's like, who knows?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm okay with this. You know, because it's essentially it's kind of giving everybody what they want in an aspect. Okay, so the people that want four-face sonar, you get it. The people that don't, you get it. So
yeah,
what else? But people are always going to bitch.
Yeah, that's true. You're never going to pacify. Like, you're never going to eliminate that. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's that natural bitching of people in the world is kind of what makes them stay in the conversation. So that's a good thing. And
you know? Dude, I'll be honest. I kind of wish St. Lawrence River was one of the ones that didn't get picked.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I'm not going to say there wouldn't be any 100-pound bags, but there sure as shit wouldn't be as many.
Oh, definitely.
I guarantee that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but
that's
we'll see what happens.
Speaking of St. Lawrence, that's one thing Benny and I are talking about is an October trip.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we're throwing that idea. I was like, now I got the electronics on the boat. That was a big thing. That was like, I want to be careful about where I'm putting this boat when I'm doing these runs, you know, and not having some kind of a map, you know, nothing else, you know, like that. I mean, that would have, I'll be honest with you, if I could go back and do St. Clair all over again now, I 100% would, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it'd be a whole other game. I'd be way more willing to go and do some fucking ridiculous shit, you know, and be able to mark a waypoint like, hey, here's the ramp. We can get back. Shit like that. Dude.
The good thing about the St. Lawrence River, if you're running, like, you're fine. It's like a fucking 100 feet deep because of those barges and shit. But there are some places that you can get in trouble for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just don't want to fuck anything up, you know, other than my fucking winch strap. You bastard.
Good thing that's a pretty cheap fix.
I know, thank God. I've been lucky so far. I've been like, and I gotta wash my boat. It is filthy. It is fucking filthy. So yeah, that's gonna happen probably this week too, because it is due. It deserves it. But why don't we go ahead and do this? We'll take a short break. We'll come back and we'll do our Just the Tip segment, right? And then we'll jump into that FTG because I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. And then we'll round things off with the live well. We got a bunch of questions there. I think it's actually going to make for a really good buzzy type topic. So it'll be fun. We'll see you guys in a bit. Do not go too far. And we're going to check in with our jig heads as well.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life gets easier with great assists, and State Farm is here to dish one your way. Get in touch over the phone or on the app to get the teammate you need. State Farm with the assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability and eligibility vary by state.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
And perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, so we spoke in our first segment about how yesterday's day on the water was affected by thunderstorms. And then the week prior, we were talking about how my day for the slot limit tournament was affected by thunderstorms that have come through the night. So let's talk about that, because I feel like this is something that is going to affect every angler multiple times throughout the year. Are what's happening before the storm, during the storm, after the storm, when that front comes through, when that storm system processes through an area, what's happening and how can you best handle it? And I mean, there are obviously, with anything we're going to talk about, like, your results may vary slightly. There may be variables not being considered, but we're talking here in sort of generalizations for the most part. So let's talk about storm impacts when it comes to your freshwater fishing here. As far as understanding fish behavior, the water dynamics, and strategies for anglers, freshwater anglers know that a storm system can be both a blessing and a challenge. Storms change barometric pressure, water clarity, oxygen levels, and temperature dynamics, all go and affect fish activity, from feeding and behavior. Knowing how fish populations react ahead of time, during, and then after a storm is also going to help you plan for a safer and also more productive outing. So let's talk about the fish behavior in relation to storms as a storm approaches. So typically as a storm approaches, you're going to see a barometric pressure drop, and fish will sense that falling pressure through their swim bladders. Many fish like bass, crappie, bluegill, catfish, walleye, they become more active and they'll start to feed heavily before the front actually shows up. So if you can get out beforehand, this is a time that they're going to be pretty fired up. Now you're going to have cloud cover generally and wind. Overcast conditions are going to reduce light. They're going to allow fish to roam from the cover that maybe they had been, using as a security blanket for. And wind is often going to push those bait fish into wind-blown banks that are going to attract sort of a golden corral for predators, if you will. And then there's an opportunity window there, because it's often the best fishing period. And sometimes it'll only last for a few hours as that storm starts to roll up, because timing is everything. And now during the storm, you're going to end up with lots of times, especially if there's heavy rain, you're going to get lots of runoff, which is going to start to decrease visibility. A lot of that's going to come from muddy inflows and just wash from the banks. Fish may end up moving shallower near current seams where food could wash in. You're also going to see higher levels of oxygen in ponds and lakes with stagnant surface layers. Rainfall can briefly increase oxygen levels. We know that oxygen levels in water are a big deal to fish, because if you can't breathe, you can't thrive. Your feeding behaviors are going to get more intense too. Your feeding usually stops as fish hunker down, especially with lightning or heavy waves or any kind of like extreme turbulence. As far as after the storm goes, now this is where you're going to see your barometer, your pressure start to rise, and that is what typically will slow down or can entirely shut down fish activity. They'll get a little bit more choosy, they'll get lazy, they'll stick tighter to cover as that pressure comes up. Or they'll go deeper, and you'll find them much, much deeper, at, associating with like points or ledges and that get toward that deeper water. Again, it's a security thing. You're also going to get your water temperatures that are going to shift. And this is going to depend on the time of year, because cold rain is going to cool shallow areas pretty good. Sometimes it'll draw fish out. Like in the summer, it can actually stimulate feeding, but in the spring, it can slow it down. It's all about how cold is too cold. And then your stained water, reduced visibility is going to allow anglers to use more louder, more annoying, visible baits more successfully. So yeah, your bladed jigs and things like that in that stained water, that's a good time to use them. Effects like by different bodies of water, because it's going to change depending on what type of body of water we're talking about. Like small ponds and lakes, rapid temperature shifts are going to happen because there's less water there. Cold rain is going to have a greater impact because of that lower volume. Runoff is going to make the water more muddy, and it'll quickly push fish into the clearer areas. Oxygen levels are going to spike briefly too, creating feeding opportunities right after rain. As far as your rivers and streams, you're going to get increased current and rising water. That's going to push the fish toward eddies, backwaters, and those flooded banks. In high flows, catfish, carp, and smallies often feed aggressively on washed-in food. And then safety will become a concern when you're on rivers and streams, because those currents are going to kick up, and then there's going to be floating debris that could cause a problem. So if you're on moving water, be very careful. As far as talking large lakes and large reservoirs, your wind-driven waves and pressure shifts are going to scatter baitfish schools. Your thermoclines might be disrupted by mixing often deep water patterns or altering deep water patterns rather. And then fishing the windward side where the waves push plankton and baitfish, it'll often pay off before and then shortly after the storms. Now, as far as your baits go, before a storm, you can get real aggressive there. Your spinner baits, your crank baits, your bladed jigs, top waters will work really well. Your really, really aggressive stuff is great. Your minnow imitations like jerk baits or swim baits that are going to match bait fish that get pushed shallow, absolute home run. As far as during the storm, high visibility lures are good. Your noisy presentations, your rattle traps, or your buzz baits, things like that will help. Your natural drift baits in rivers. So if you're drifting a night crawler or a piece of cut bait or live minnow, you want to wash that stuff into current seams, and that's going to be effective for you. As far as after the storm, that's when things are going to slow down again. Often, really the main thing having to do with that barometric pressure. Your finesse tactics are going to come into play here. Your Ned rigs and drop shots, your wacky worms. Vertical presentations, especially near vertical cover, are going to be a big deal. So your jigs or spoons, when you have fish that are holding specifically tight to structure, this is going to help out. And then your more natural colors in these presentations, because they're a little bit more, after the storm, they're a little bit more... I guess on high alert, So your subtle natural colors, greens, browns, shad patterns, things like that. That's where you're not really so much trying to get their attention with something super bright and flashy. You're more or less trying to get them to just feel comfortable eating something that looks as realistic as possible. Now, we mentioned safety considerations. This is a big deal. Lightning awareness, I think, is the biggest one, and it's the one that I feel like most anglers can agree with, that is sort of the primary focus. If there is audible thunder, get the hell off the water. That's what it gets down to. If you can hear the thunder, get off the water. Your fishing rods act as a lightning attractor. When you're on a flat surface on a boat and you've got, I've got vertical rod holders on my boat, right in the center of the boat, just sticking straight up. That's a problem. You don't want to have that out there in the middle of the lake. So you want to get off the water as quickly as you can. Wind and waves are something you got to keep into consideration. High wind is going to cause a lot of turbulence, and sudden gusts of wind can really swamp small boats, especially when they're on large lakes. And you want to, of course, make sure that you're, following your state laws and wearing your life preserver, your PFD. But in those kinds of situations, especially, if you think it's that dicey where you might go overboard, be safe. Make the right call. Put your PFD on. Flooded rivers. You want to avoid fishing during major floods because currents can be really unpredictable and banks can erode. So be very, very cautious there and reconsider, I would say. And then, of course, there's a hypothermia risk because rain and wind is going to cause dangerous cooling even in the hottest days of summer. And while it might feel nice and cool and refreshing in a minute, if you're out there for a little bit, it can be a problem. So you want to have some dry clothes that are protected in a dry bag so you can change out of your wet stuff if you need to. And then also, like, rain gear is great to have on your boat all year round regardless, something that you can put on to keep you dry. And then your boat and gear check. Secure all of your tackle, all of your electronics and anchors before storms to avoid any kind of an accident. Your main takeaways here, if you just want the Cliff Notes version of this, your best bite window is going to be just before the storm arrives. That's when it's going to typically be the best. During the storm, activity often will slow except for opportunistic feeding and runoff zones. After the storm, you want to consider that fishing might be tougher, requiring more finesse techniques and more patience. And bodies of water certainly matter. Small ponds react the fastest. Your rivers provide washed-in forage, and your large lakes, they offer wind-driven feeding zones. And of course, as always, safety first. No fish is actually worth risking a lightning strike or going overboard because of dangerous waves. So take that for what it's worth, guys. But when it comes to storms, plan accordingly. Get out there ahead of the time if you can, and it'll certainly help. Let's jump on here and see what we got here. We got Eli Self in the house. He jumped on here. Let's see. John Hagan says, he goes, here's a little tip. He goes, 24 hours before a cold front is fired. 24 to 48 hours past a front are rough, depending on the strength of the front. You can still find fish, but it's tough. And it's weird, John, because I have gone back and forth, but if I look in my notes, like it's true, but prefrontal is typically better, especially for like moving presentations. They are fired up. I find I still do pretty good post front, but I fish really finessey. I like those techniques a lot. So I find that I still do pretty good, but you just got to be able to adapt. But that's, again, like your results might vary as an angler. It does get tough afterwards. And you're right about the strength of the front, because you'll get a front and it might surprise you. You might think that, oh, yeah, that wasn't too bad. There was just a little pop, 15 minutes, thunderstorm blew through, nothing crazy. It shouldn't have that effect. But depending on what the conditions were before and what they ended up with afterwards, those fish might react totally different than you're expecting them to. They might overreact a little bit in a way. He goes, I often switch to smaller baits post front to tempt more reluctant fish. It's usually a rough time in the catfish world. I could see that for sure. For sure, I could see it being very much. Eli says, caught the most buzzbait fish prefrontal. That absolutely makes sense, man. They're going to be chasing. They're going to be active. So, yeah, I mean, Joe, what do you think? What's your take when it comes to storms?
So John kind of nailed it with the whole like cold front thing. I was going to mention something about that. And it kind of goes the same thing for a warm front, too. Obviously, they go deep or whatever. But let's talk the storms thing. So I've always had luck when it rains, especially like downpours. I've had like great luck. I've had great luck fishing that. As long as you can bundle up and you don't mind getting a little wet, like it's great time for fishing. But when it comes to storms, lightning, thunder, all that stuff, big one. I don't mess with that shit. Like I got stuck in where was I? Oh, I was down in West Point where I put the anchors down under a bridge for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Just took a little, just kind of chill because, I heard thunder and whatever. Mm-hmm. But
that's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, you nailed it though. I mean, you hit everything on the head. But just my big thing, don't be afraid of the rain. Don't be afraid of the rain.
Yeah, the rain is awesome. Use that rain, because there's a lot of people who will say like, oh yeah, when it's raining, they'll just kill a rattle trap or a bladed jig. They'll just absolutely crush it because there's all that additional noise, that additional vibration. They dial into shit. I would say, honestly, like for a safety tip, plan in advance. So like we knew that this storm was going to be coming about 2:00, and we didn't want to be fishing on the way out. So we went as far out as we could, where we're like, yeah, we have plenty of space here to fish our way back. And we were like, let's move back in this direction. And that's what we did. We would cross over the reservoir and say like, oh, well, that bank over there looks really good because there's this or whatever. Or, you know, we're looking at the map and we're like, there's this ledge that comes off. So we want to go and fish that. We would do that. But we were headed back toward the ramp. Bridges are a great idea. I totally forgot about that. Like when I was at Jordan Lake with the Jabberhammer, and it was really pouring that first rainy day that we had gone out there. That's exactly what I did. I just grabbed a freaking bridge pylon and held onto it for about 45 minutes in one spot as this rain was just dumping down, and I was freezing my ass off. But that's a great idea to get under some kind of cover like that, drop your anchors, and then hold on. And you know, if you're not looking to pull the boat out of the water, and sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes you just go up, dock the boat, go in your truck for about 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like play it safe. So man, that's freaking bananas, dude. Yeah, it's a good segment. I think this. I have been waiting for this all day. This is going to be so good. Actually, before we jump into this FTG, let's do this. John says in here, he goes,
I'm trying to read them.
Biggest blue cats came on the shittiest weather days. That makes sense. Let's see what he goes. Eli says, if you get your electronics wet during the rain, hit me up. I have a new exciting product that's brand new technology. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that, Eli. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. This ought to be good. All right, so I'm going to play these in the order that I received them. And this first call comes in from Junior.
Hey man, this here, my name Junior, and I was calling in about my brother Bubba. This is that Jiggle and Biggle thing, ain't it, man? Anywho, I'm calling in on that son bitch because we were down at the local pay pond, and, you know, I was trying to catch big catfish because, you know, the pot's up pretty high. And I'm chilling and relaxing. I turned around, and some bitch went in my cooler and took my last fucking beer, man. I didn't like it. And he started calling me names and whatnot, and, you know, he touched some nerves, man. I know we brothers and all, but god damn it, don't take my goddamn beer, man. And then, you know, he's already messing around with my sister. I don't fucking like it, dude. So, you know, we got to rumbling a little bit and smacked him up. You know, I told him, you big fat son of a bitch, you ain't gonna take my beer and not do anything about it. Give me another one. Anywho, you know, we rolled around in the dirt a little bit, and, you know, I got a little scuffed up, he got a little scuffed up. That son of a bitch, man, he still ain't replaced my beer. It's been a day and a half, man. God damn. Anyway, fuck my brother, man. Fuck you, Bubba. Fuck you all the way, man. It's Junior. I hope you catch fish.
So, there's a couple of things about that are amazing. Number one, I want to point out that he said he's already messing around with my sister.
Isn't that also his sister?
Because you guys are brothers.
I'm wondering who this actually was.
I don't know, and I've tried to figure out where the phone number comes from. But I will say this: this is the first time anybody that fishes pay lakes, because did you catch that? It was a pay pond.
Yeah.
Any time that they have called and reached out. So
yeah.
Eli says the beer is over the line. Todd goes, take my sister, not the beer. Fucking hell, you guys. Let's say, I think, is this next call Bubba? This next one is from Bubba. Here we go.
Hey, man. My name's Bubba. And I'm a new listener. I decided I was going to take advantage of this here calling line that you guys got. Anyway, I was down Lake Paypon with my brother, Junior, and we was drinking and whatnot, and he bought, here's the thing, man, if you gonna bring beer and tell me I can drink beer, don't get mad at me when I drink this shit, alright? So, anyway, okay, so I kind of drank his last beer. I went in there, I took it, I drank it, and I told the bar, I said, look, man, I went up to the bait shack and grabbed another 6-pack, man. It just to be nice. And I told him, I said, you know, I'll let you drink the first 2 before I drink the last 4. I thought the math was pretty good on that. But apparently that wasn't good enough. And we got to tussling a little bit. It's not the first time. We've been fighting like billy goats since we was knee-high to tree flies, you know. And then he brought up our sister because he says we've been messing around. Here's the thing, man. She's only my half sister. She's half sister, half girlfriend. Anyway, we don't even have the same Paul, man. So we won't get into the logistics. It's just she's fair game, man. She's single. But he got mad about all that. And he just wanted to fight. We rolled around in the parking lot like a couple of dirt balls that we are. And finally, they kicked us out of there and said we couldn't be scuffling no more, 8 times is too much. Yeah. So, now we can't go down to the pond and fish there for a while in the bushes. But I just wanted to say that. But, fuck you, Junior. All right. That's all, man. Oh, shit. The cops are at my door. Hey, y'all, tight lines. And fuck you, Junior. Fuck you, Junior.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is
what
right?
The fuck? So just to go over some of these comments that are coming in. First, Todd's like, what the fuck? And then he says, take my sister, not the beer. Eli goes, the beer is over the line. John Higgins chimes in and says, Bubba sounds drunk. Yeah, Bubba does sound drunk. Todd says, this makes my brain hurt. And then Eli goes, I'm having to focus so hard to understand this. John says, damn, hillbillies are banned from Jigs and Bigs.
Man.
Is that our demographic? Is that like the new 2025? Like we're the official podcast of Pay Lake Anglers? Is that what's happening?
Is it? You think so?
Oh my God. We're gonna have to partner with Ugly Stick and fucking Keystone Light and fucking were they at Pickle Park? They might have been. I think the sister was at Pickle Park. I do think that line, she's half sister, half girlfriend, is fucking brilliant. That was fucking ridiculous. I don't know, but it is kind of odd. Now, I will say this. These are from different phone numbers. Like they are from different phone numbers.
No shit.
Because I initially was like, yeah, this must be somebody fucking trolling us. Actually, at first, I was like, this has to be Chris Tabari. 100%. Because, like, he can do the voices, you know what I mean? And he's worked, like, you guys have heard Chris. He played Alexi and everything. Like, all that, all those voices. Like, and I'm like, but they're two separate phone numbers. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. John says it sounds very Kentucky, West Virginia-ish. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go through Google Voice and I'll get to the bottom of this. I'm gonna find out where they're from. Yes. Because if it's like a Kentucky, area code or a West Virginia area code, that'll help narrow it down. And then we can look in like Pay Lakes in those areas. Yep. And amenities and see if we can figure out, can we find Bubba and Junior? And maybe we can get Bubba and Junior to make an appearance at the 300th episode party.
Hell yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Joe. So I was on the water. This is during the slot limit tournament. I have an idea. Yeah. And again, this might be something more for conversation that we have off the show, but I've been talking about the 300th episode. We got to nail down a date, just a time of year, and I'll straighten out the venue and everything like that.
Sure.
What I know so far for the live show is that, yes, there will be a live show. Tickets will be available for everybody, and the ticket will be like a raffle that your name will be entered in, and everybody will be entered in some prizes, and we're going to do this. So it will be a live stream event as well. So if you can't physically be there for the party, you can still be involved by the live stream and checking out the show recording and all that other stuff. So there will be an element there that's going to be pretty slick. Now, on top of that, I want to add a bonus door prize, something that will actually be there from a bunch of people that want to put together to the door prize. So there will be a benefit to actually being there. There will be an additional door prize, a gift basket of a bunch of either baits or just basically a sponsored item from a bunch of different brands. Somebody will walk away with, and one of those people that is there is going to get an opportunity to win that. I think what we should also do, and again, Joe, I don't know if you're game for it. I think we should each take a listener out for a trip.
I'm in for that.
I think 100%. That would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be fucking amazing. And I was like, that's a great idea. I was talking with my buddy Jeff while we were in the tournament. And I think it's in the video. And I was like, yeah, he goes, that's what you should do. He's like, you should just put one of those trips in, and take someone out on your boat and give them the whole Bobby roast beef experience. And I'm like, well, and then I said, you know what? I go, this might be a good thing to do if we do a Bobby trip and a Joe trip. And then we just do the whole thing as content, the whole 9 yards. It could be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think it would be a blast. So, yeah, it could be a lot of fun. I think that could be a lot of fun. And I would like to maybe dabble a little bit into the world of doing a fishing trip with a short list of listeners where, maybe we'll have a random seat that'll be we pick somebody, at random. And then we have friends of the show that we've got a relationship and a rapport with that we're we're going to go and we'll stay here. We'll fish for X amount of days or something. I think that could be very, very cool. But yeah, I think that'll be fun. Let's go ahead and we're gonna put a wrap on this segment here, but we're gonna come back. We got a crazy live well that you guys do not want to miss out on. We'll see you guys. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Introducing the perfect companion to your morning listening routine. AG1's clinically backed formula is now flavor-packed with 3 new delicious flavors: tropical, berry, and citrus. Start the day on a high note with probiotics that taste like the tropics. Mix it up with micronutrients that taste like berry or citrus. And take it all the way back with the classic, AG1 Original, with notes of pineapple and vanilla. Do your health a flavor, or 4, with AG1 Next Gen, the daily health drink. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Alrighty, guys, it's Bobby Roast Beef back here with another Jigs and Bigs interview segment. And this week, we have a good guest in the beef seat. We've got Tiny from Tiny's Hand-Tied Jigs. Now, it was just this week, just a couple days ago, I got a DM from Tiny, and he was asking me about how he could get involved with the show and be a guest on the show. I was like, just like you're doing, man, just a knock on the door. We're glad to have you on. And he asked specifically if we ever had bait makers on the show, and I was like, absolutely. Because if there's one thing that Jigs and Bigs is all about, it is getting on that cutting edge of what is available out there for different lures and different presentations for folks to be able to mix things up and keep these fish biting. So let's dive into it. Tiny, good to have you on the show, man. Welcome. This is your
good to be here.
Your first appearance on Jigs and Bigs. We have our show is a little bit unique. We're definitely more of like an entertainment style show. So like if we may get a little off topic here and there, but it's all about having a good time. But you've been doing this for a little bit right now. Let's dive into your origin story. Like talk about how you were introduced to fishing as a whole, what you kind of the way you kind of leaned for fishing, if there was a technique that you liked or a species that you targeted. And how do we get to the point, like, where did lure making come into your foray?
It's kind of interesting. I've been fishing my whole life, but I never really pictured being into it as far as bait making and tournaments and being that involved into it as a sport, I guess.
Yep.
I think a lot of people have a hard time looking at fishing as a sport and looking at fishermen as athletes if they're not involved in it. I guess it was 15 years ago, I got married to a woman who was really big involved in fishing. And I ended up leaving Alabama and going to Mississippi.
Yep.
And we both ended up disabled, not working anymore. And I asked her one day what her plans were, and she said, I want to move. And I said, you want to move? She said, yeah. I said, where do you want to move to? She said, I want to move somewhere where I can fish every day. And of all places, we ended up on the Big Four in North Mississippi. And we bought a camper, and we were just moving around from lake to lake in the campgrounds and living there right on the lakes. And we were living on Grenada Lake, where crappie fishing is just humongous. And that's really how I got into it, focusing on crappie because of all the guides and all the tournaments and everything that come to that area. We were watching YouTube one evening, and we were watching a young man by the name of Justin Rackley.
Oh,
on down there on Lake Fork.
Yep.
And he was fishing with hair jigs. And she said, I want to learn how to fish with hair jigs. And just from watching him fish and watching him pull the jigs up and seeing the jigs, I said, well, I want to learn how to tie the jigs.
Yeah, there you go. It's match made in heaven.
And she didn't think I could do it, really. She didn't think I had I've got arthritis in my hands and I've got different things going on. So she just didn't think that I could do it. And I tell the story and people laugh, and you say it's entertainment, so I'll tell the story.
Yeah.
We had a little bet that I could make a hair jig and it would catch fish. And I didn't have any of the equipment, so I just had to figure out a way to get by. And I was watching some YouTube videos, and I was trying to figure out, and I said, I don't have any hair, I don't have any feathers. Well, that day she was she didn't have either leg, and she had bad hands, and she wanted to dye her hair and put some purple streaks in it. So she asked me to do it for her. So I did it. And I was sitting there, and she was asleep, and it was about midnight. And I said, where am I going to get some hair to tie a hair jig?
Yep.
And I happened to look over her and see those purple streaks I just put in her hair that day.
Oh man, I think I know where this is
going.
So
I got a pair of scissors, and I said she can sleep through anything. And I went over there and cut a lock of purple out of her hair, and the snip of the scissors woke her up.
No.
Yeah, and she hit the roof. I mean, she was literally awful. And I said, I bet your hair will catch fish. And so she went back to sleep, and I tied that hair jig with her hair. And next morning, she looked at it, and she was really amazed at how good it looked.
Yep.
And so I went on Facebook, and I found a pro crappie fisherman by the name of Stephen Sullivan.
Okay.
And he fishes Crappie Masters. He fished the Old American Crappie League that was out of Missouri, and he fished them all. So he was a local dentist. So I went by his office, and I handed him this jig. And he said, I'm going to need you to tie some different ones, because he said these hooks will never hold up to the crappie we have on Grenada Lake.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I think it'll hold up. Well, the next morning he sent me a text, and a big fish that hit that hook and snapped it off. So
really?
I went to a friend of his who actually poured heads, and I got some more heads from him. And I went home, and I actually went to the store and bought some hair this time. And
it's a good idea.
I tied some more jigs and got them to him. And he did well. As a matter of fact, a year later, he still had one of those jigs on the same rod. It was still holding up. He was still fishing it in tournaments. And so he did well. I think they finished 10th that season. And I'm not tying. He's one of those that goes and helps the new guys get into the industry. So I'm not tying for Steven anymore. But him and his partner, they really helped me get into this industry.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. And it's great when like they can pass it down like that and, kind of open the door for somebody to get interested and do some stuff and give you some constructive criticism too. I'm glad that you just went and bought some hair, because I think that maybe you would have hit the roof if you'd cut some more off of your wife's head. That was just something.
I probably would have. But people love that story, so every chance I get, I tell it.
No, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
It was something else. I mean, it's the only nice color hair I had, so I got it.
I hear you, man. Yeah,
and I figured I'm the one who dyed it, so
you kind of have a stake, in it. Sure,
exactly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, as far as like your jigs, let's talk about your hair jigs. It's so funny because this is one of these things where the last couple of years I've gotten into this specific style of fishing, throwing really light lures called bait finesse. And when I was looking at your Instagram, I'm looking at some of the jigs that you make, and I'm like, yeah, I've got to get my hands on some of these because they're right in the wheelhouse of the stuff that I'm toying around with. And like, I don't fish with hair jigs often. I've got a couple. Let's talk about the lineup. Like, what's the range in weights typically, and what sizes of hooks are you using as far as the heads for these jigs that you're tying?
On a number 8, on a 1/8 head.
Yep.
1/8 of an ounce. I normally run a number 2. Now,
gotcha. That's perfect.
I only use the guys who pour heads for me. Have to order the Mustad black nickel.
Yep.
2X strong, because I sell a lot to guys in North Mississippi still and ship a lot up there. And they've got to have a heavy duty hook. And that's really one of the better heads other than the steelhead hook, that 2X strong black nickel Mustad. It's just one of the better hooks in the industry. And so that's about all I'll use typically. And so in a 1/8 ounce head, I usually run a number 2.
Yep.
And in a 1/16, it's always a number 4. And then 1/32, I have always ran a number 4, but guys are asking me for number 6 a lot in that. So I kind of try to lean toward what they're. So I've started putting number 6 hooks in my 1/32, but I'll special order the head with whatever size hook somebody wants.
Gotcha.
And being from the North Mississippi area, that there's guys that fish Bay Springs Lake a lot, and they don't want anything but 1/64 and 1/80th of an ounce, and those are some small heads, and they're really hard to tie. But I usually run about a number 8 hook in those.
Yeah,
and I special order those because it's not something I do a lot of.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, when the demand's there, you can fulfill it, but this way you're not carrying a bunch of stock for something super specialized, which I guess kind of makes sense. It's amazing. This year for me, this has been a great year for crappie, especially this spring. Like, up here, our fish. I'm in New England. I'm in Massachusetts, and our fish have a different kind of growing season than some others because we have months of the year where it could just be ice, and if you get into like a 13 plus inch crappie, hell, if you get into a 12 inch plus crappie, you've got a tank on your hands. That's a big crappie for around here. I know, obviously other parts of the country, they get much bigger, but I've been catching them a lot, really good on like 1/8 ounce tungsten jigs with like a 2-aught hook with either a swim bait as a trailer or like a bladed style jig or even an underspin as well. And I notice you do some interesting stuff too. Like, you've got some underspin, some jigs that have blades on there as well. And the design is amazing. Can you walk me through, like, I'm looking at some of the different heads too. You've got round ball heads and you've got more of like the traditional plug style head on some of these. I'm looking at this picture right here.
Right.
Yeah.
I've actually started, and I can't tell if that's the ones, but I've actually started. You mentioned finesse jigs.
Yep.
And I've actually started tying some on the net heads.
Oh yeah.
Because they're designed as a finesse style jig for mainly bass.
Yep.
And so I've started tying some hair on them. I've started tying some with the bass skirt material. What's really been going over well, and I don't know if you've seen the picture of them, but I've been doing what they call a wedge tail, and that was created by a man by the name of Mike Campbell out of Ohio, and it's just as simple. It's cut out of out of a sheet of bass skirt material.
Yep.
And it's just simple, almost like a real a narrow triangle almost. It's just a wedge.
Oh, yeah.
They have been tearing those wedge tails up, and then they went into tying them as a split tail, splitting those tails a little bit.
Yep. Oh, I see.
It's almost like a soft plastic tied on with your thread, and then your glue, and then your put your chenille on there for the body. And the fish are loving those things right now.
Oh,
and
definitely.
They're throwing a lot in ice fishing. You mentioned the ice, and they're throwing a lot on a 1/32 drop down for ice fishing as just a single jig deal through the ice.
Yep.
And just jig it right there. And crappie fishing has went a lot too, and that's the reason why they work so well, because crappie fishing has went to just that single jig, and they went to the front-facing sonar and side-facing sonar, and to where they can actually watch that jig and put it right above the head of a crappie, because they're going to feed up.
Yeah.
And if you put it right above them, and they're looking up, and they're going to hit it every time.
That's kind of the idea, is you make that long cast and you pendulum it down past them, and they'll come up and grab it. Or you use a float too, and do kind of the same idea. If you have them dialed to that depth, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
I was just going to say with that front facing sonar, if they get it dialed in right, you can see your line, you can see the jig, you can see the positioning of it perfectly.
It's funny. I've heard that about forward-facing sonar. They're just like, people talk about it nonstop in the bass fishing tournament world, but in the world of crappie fishing, it has been an absolute game changer. And yeah, I've heard you can dial it in and you can see every single little detail, and just that's where the impact really is.
Yeah, exactly. I was fishing with a buddy of mine on Enid Lake, not too. That was last year, I think it was. Anyway, and we were watching this big crappie on that forward-facing sonar, and he wanted to get to me, so he was actually fishing at just a soft plastic that day, and he was tipping it with a minnow, and he pendulumed it down and set it right above that big crappie, and it looked up at it, and that crappie would not hit it. I've never seen a minnow on a hook positioned so perfectly to where a crappie would just sit there and look at it, because usually they hit the meat.
Oh, of course.
And so I told him, I said, just pull it up and let's try something. And I had a jig that I had tied with a little rubber worm.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen them. They're real narrow, and you buy them. They call them little rubber wiggly worms.
Yep. Yeah, they're super skinny, right?
Right. And I had tied a jig with some of those on it, and I dropped that down and I set it over that same fish, and I watched that forward facing sonar, and I mean it didn't get. I barely got it stopped above his nose, and he looked up and saw that and just about yanked a rod out of my hand. It was my personal best at 3.10.
It's a big crappie.
Caught on Enid Lake there in North Mississippi, and it was amazing to see. I don't know why they're adapting to tied jigs more so than even minnows anymore. There's certain times of the year when they won't hit nothing but minnows, and that's the big thing about crappie. They're finicky.
Yeah.
And certain time of the year. Matter of fact, this is the time of the year when guys typically start fishing hair jigs, because this is the time of the year they hit them all year.
Sure.
But, crappie fishermen are set to where one time of the year they know they throw soft plastics. Another time of the year they don't throw nothing but drop nothing but minnows, and then they go to the hair jigs during the fall and probably all the way into spring.
Yep.
And it's a time based thing. You got certain time of the year you got to throw certain things, and that's what you got to learn.
No, absolutely. I love that, man. That's awesome. So, go on.
I was going to say we mentioned talked about front facing sonar and how big it is in the crappie industry, and even myself before I got into the industry, people like to call it cheating. People that don't fish professionally.
Yeah.
People don't understand how talented you have to be to fish with that type of electronic.
Yeah.
It takes perfect boat control with the trolling motor. It's perfect everything. You have to be absolutely perfect in your boat control. You have to be absolutely perfect where you put that bait. There is so much to fishing with that type of electronic, and I didn't realize it until the first time I was actually took out in a boat.
Yeah,
and had the ability to be shown how to fish with it. It's just it takes a lot of talent.
Oh, definitely,
and a lot of work.
And there's a lot
takes hours on the water to learn that type of fishing.
And there's a lot of variables that have to be right. Like you could have, your boat control relatively dialed, but if that wind is out of your comfort range, and your positioning isn't ideal, or, maybe it's so much as like you nailed it earlier when you have it dialed in. There's a lot of people that are using this that don't have it truly like dialed in so that they know what it is that they're looking at. And,
exactly.
I'm not one of those guys. I'm not using forward facing at the moment, but that day's eventually going to come, and it's just another tool in the toolbox that anglers have at their disposal. So, you know how it is. People on the internet just like to talk, and that's exactly what they're doing.
They do.
Just yammering on about.
And I've had to go a lot of multi-species myself now, living in Alabama.
Yep.
So I'm tying for a lot of other style fishing. Like I told you earlier, I've started tying for saltwater, and being more dialed into bass like you are with the finesse fishing.
Yep.
There's an organization, the Ultimate Anglers. The Ultimate Anglers that fish. It's a Ultimate Anglers Bass organization or something, and they're going to be doing an event that in just a few hours north of me in Scottsboro, Alabama, which I'm going to.
Oh, that's cool.
And been invited to. So I've had to get more into bass, but I've leaned toward an inline buzz bait and an inline spinner because you don't find them very often.
You know, it's funny. A lot of people write off an inline spinner, but I'll tell you, like, an inline buzz bait is. Tell me about that. Like, how did you stumble on this idea, and then what kind of outcomes have you seen with folks using it?
I've seen good outcomes.
Yep.
I did it a little while, several years back, and I was working at that time. I'd started working with a 12-year-old boy that was autistic, but he was fishing one of the major bass tournament runs, and I got in with him and started sending him some baits, and he was doing really well with them. And he really didn't know what he got when he said it's got a buzzbait blade on it, but it's on a straight shaft. And, you know, he didn't really understand what he had at first when I sent it to him and I explained it to him, and he had a good turnout. Now, I'm still in the water trial stages.
Yeah.
I got up with a guy here in Alabama who fishes some of the major bass tournaments. And he's been doing some water tests, and I got some weak split rings, and which caused some problems. They were straightening out.
Yep.
So there's some things that I've had to go through to figure out the ins and outs of where I've got to make changes. Some of the most recent ones I've put together, I've actually just started looping the wire and actually putting the hook and the any barrel swivels that you put on the line end. I've had to go to just looping the wire through them so that they have more durability and strength, because my split rings weren't holding up on the inlines.
Yeah.
And, so there's a lot of technical stuff that you got to figure out.
Sure.
But I think I've about got it figured out. And I think they've done well. The fish are hitting them. I just had to figure out how to get the strength I need to keep the fish from the bigger bass from straightening out the rings and things of that nature. But I think I've got there now with just looping the wire through and things of that nature. So I kind of like to push the envelope a little bit. So, you know, I'll do things like a double buzz blade on one, or two blades instead of one, or an extra blade on the inline spinner to spin to give more flash for the fish to be attracted to it, to hit that thing, to hit it.
Now, on those inline buzz baits, what type of a hook are you using? Are you using a treble hook in the back like you would an inline spinner, or do you have something that somebody could rig a plastic to, like a buzz toad?
Well, I actually I'm doing both. I've got some. Okay. Well, and I've got some I put like a number 2 treble hook on if they're looking for the big bass. If they're really just targeting and using, if they've got a front facing sonar and they're just targeting the big fish,
sure,
they can have a number 2 treble hook. And I've got some with just a number 6 treble hook, which is typically what a spinner would come with. But I've also started using some 2/0 and 4/0 J hooks, because that's what you'll find on some of the spinners they sell in the stores, the bigger J hooks.
Okay.
And I'm tying them with either hair or feathers, but they could either trim it back and put a toad or a worm on it, or they could just leave it and put it on there. There's plenty of room.
Yeah, use the hair as the dressing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's plenty of room on those J's, so they can really get whatever they want.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if you ran across any of the pictures that I was putting on my that I had on my Facebook page of those baits, but yeah, they're doing really well. I've just had to make some technical changes.
Definitely
to make them hold up, but that's always the case when you're doing something new. you got to go with the flow of what's going on now. They change from year to year.
Yeah.
You know, and what they want to fish. You know, one year they're fishing a lot of spinners. The next year they go to buzzbaits or chatterbaits, and everybody seems to make changes really, really frequent.
Oh yeah. No. You're 100% right, man. Let's talk about, like, so your jigs, if somebody was listening to the show and they're just like, I am interested, like they're interested in the whole lineup, where is the best place for folks to be able to either reach you to ask questions about these baits, or specifically, like, do you have an online store?
I don't, but I do have a Facebook page, which is Tiny's Hand-Tied Hair Jigs. And I usually put everything on there, even if it's not just a hair jig. I put all my buzz baits and chatterbaits and things of that nature on there. And I've actually designed my own chatterbait instead of using the typical chatterbait heads. And people ask a lot of questions about, will it, swim a figure eight like a chatterbait's supposed to? Mm-hmm. Does it chatter when it's down there? And I've had good luck on water tests with it.
Yep.
But for the fishermen that don't think it'll make enough noise with the chatter, I've actually started adding to some of them. I've started adding a rattle to the shaft of the hook.
Yep.
To where it's gonna make noise and it's gonna chatter, but if it's not chattering enough to suit you, that rattle is gonna make the extra noise.
Yeah.
And it's still gonna attract the fish that you're targeting. And I've done something interesting. What I'm putting on there instead of your typical chatterbait head is, for the people that fly fish, they're familiar with clouser minnows.
Yep.
And what I've done is I've bought the largest dumbbell eye I can find, and they're hard to find, but when I find the biggest, the extra large dumbbell eyes, I buy them, because what I've done is I've taken them up to a 2 and 4/0 hook.
Yep.
And started making the large clouser baits on a large J hook, the large clouser minnows.
Yep.
And on the shaft of the hook, when I wrap it to tie the hair, or the skirt material, whichever I'm using on that particular one.
Yep.
When I do the first beds of thread before I start putting anything on there, after I put the eyes on, I'll add a rattle underneath that those first beds of thread, and that way when it does chatter, it's still going to rattle, and it's going to make the chatter louder.
That much more vibration, that much more sound. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it looks really cool.
Yeah, well, for sure. And, on top of that, too, like, that's the thing about, like, with bait makers. And, we, at the show, we work with this amazing online retailer called Dark Horse Tackle. And they have like a subscription box that people can get, like, and it's all craft, like custom, domestically made baits, stuff like that. Really innovative type stuff. But the thing that I like about it is, and this came up, we were over at the Columbus Fishing Expo one year, and we were talking with some folks. And you know how in fishing there's that conversation that people have. They're like, oh, you got to match the hatch. You got to match the hatch. What are they eating? What are they doing? You got to match the hatch. But then you have people that say the same thing. They're like, well, what about showing them something different? They've seen that same bait over all the time, everything else. But if you show them something different, they might target that specific difference. The beauty about baits, like what you're making and innovating yourself and creating them and being more creative than maybe the large big box industry, is that with stuff that you're creating, you get to do both. You get to match the hatch maybe by selecting colors and profile. But after that, right, you can get a little bit more like mad scientist with it and show them something that isn't the same exact thing that they've seen from that giant, corporation that's pumping out whatever, baits you've got going. So that's pretty awesome. And there's talk that like Dark Horse Tackle may be pushing a little further into the world of multi-species fishing, which I would love to see, because there's a few baits that they've released that are just amazing for the stuff that I like to do. Like I said, I like to fish a lot of like bass fishing techniques, but I like to target all types of different species, all sorts of stuff. So like when I can catch, like I caught a pike on a small like finesse bladed jig that I got out of one of their boxes, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me, on like 4-pound test. I was like, this is great. You know, I love what you're doing, Tiny. I think this is absolutely awesome. What do you have like in like for the future, like that you would like to see Tiny's hand-tied jigs? Where would you like to see this go?
I want to eventually be in the same category with some of your big box stores, but it's when you talk to the big box stores and you make everything by hand, one at a time, and you do it yourself. I don't. There's a lot of tires out there that have gotten so busy that they bring in other guys to help them.
Yeah,
and I can't do that, because if I have a guy put a post on Facebook that says he's caught him and his clients have caught 800 fish on this hair jig, and he's still fishing it.
Yeah.
That's the quality that I put out.
Yeah.
But if I bring 3 or 4 other guys in and I can show them my technique, but how can I make sure that I'm getting the same quality out of them that I put out myself? So
totally understand.
I'm not that trustworthy.
Yeah.
So I've talked to some bigger companies and said, let's try my product in your stores, and them look at me and say, well, you probably can't keep up with us. And my philosophy behind that would be, well, if I tie 100 jigs, we can send 50 to one store and 50 to another, and give me a chance to get another 100 tied and send another 50 here and 50 there.
Exactly.
Always keep them in stock with them, even though they don't have a large amount in their stock rooms to put out. I could, we could send out a few here, a few there, keep them in stock, and I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I would do it, is if I'm doing it myself.
Yeah. It's a challenge.
But I have started going more retail this year. I have talked to some stores, and I've gotten into a few bait and tackle shops, more so this last year than what I have in the past. In the past, I've been selling to the individuals and to the guides and to the guys, tournament fishermen. But what I'm wanting to do is to get into more retail locations. Yeah. And when people call me, just tell them where to go close to them and say, you can go here and pick them up, and me just deal with the wholesale end of it. And that's where I eventually want to be. I want to be tying wholesale for different retailers and letting the different retailers, sell them and get them into the market. Cause that's the only way to show growth, is to get yourself out into the retail market. And, so I've gotten into a couple of retail locations more this year, and I'm sending the people to them and trying to. I'm still pushing to get into more retail locations before the end of the year. But I eventually want to be doing all wholesale.
Yeah,
and that way I'm not having to get any, get these 24 jig orders out. I can sit and just tie a bunch of one jig until I get a bunch of them up and I'm ready to send to a retailer. Yeah. And I'm doing it more in bulk than I am in order size.
No, that's awesome.
So, because I have a lot of people, they want to break up their dozen into different designs, and I'll do that for them. I cater to the individual right now, but I want to get it to the point where the retailers are catering to the individual, and I'm catering to the retailers.
Yep, for sure. And
eventually I'm going to get there. If you got people listening in the area of North Alabama, they can already get me at Happy Hollow Outdoors is carrying my product now up in the Red Bay area of Alabama.
That's awesome.
I've got stores in Metairie, Louisiana now, so I'm pushing to get into the retailers so I can be the wholesale end.
Yeah, definitely. No, I 100% agree. And actually, Tiny, it might not be the worst idea, instead of being in a physical store on a retail level, to focus on the online stores. Because then folks from all over the place will have access to be able to order whatever it is you need. And then maybe instead of taking that 100 jigs and dividing them between 2 locations, you just make 100 jigs and you give them to like Tackle Warehouse or Dark Horse or one of these online retailers. And then you've got that going for you. And then you've got one large supply chain, but you're able to put your stuff all over the country and meet demand. And speaking of around the country, I did see a couple of posts on there. Like you're not a stranger to the fishing expo world. You've done a handful of these shows. Where in the country have you, or what would be like your area of dream locations to hit for some of these expos, where you think your product would do really well?
Well, I've been to Nashville, and I've been to several lakes in the Tennessee area.
Yep,
they do well there. I haven't been there in the expo world, but I do. In the North Mississippi area is just a beautiful area, which I'll be going with the Midwest Crappie Alliance in late October, where we'll be doing. They do a shootout every year. Invite 150 boats.
Yep, and
it's an invitation thing, and I've done all but one of their shows. They did one up in Ohio last year that I didn't make it to. For health reasons, but we'll be doing Pickwick this year in late October, and that's a dream location for any bait maker, because when your baits are fishing on Pickwick, you're catering to Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama.
Yep, all
of these states have a boat ramp going out on Pickwick.
Yeah,
and state, more than one, but so that's really a big location for any bait maker, because they catch everything there from walleye to crappie to bass to catfish. So any bait maker loves that area, because there's so many different states that are involved in that one body of water.
I could see you doing really well at that Columbus Fishing Expo up there. And the reason is I think your hair jigs would kill it on the Great Lakes. I just think that they'd be freaking great. You know what I mean? Or like the St. Lawrence River for like killer smallmouth. I could see that being absolutely huge. And, I mean, Jesus. I'd like to try your hair jigs at St. Clair, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's why I was disappointed that I had to miss that shootout last year with the Crappie Alliance, because they did the Lake Erie shootout last year.
Oh, yeah. That's your spot.
It would have been a perfect location for me to put my product out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it did. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think anywhere in Ohio would be a good place for me to be.
Yeah.
And I plan to come. I've been invited to those. I've actually been invited, got the phone call and been invited to come to some of those expos that they do in Columbus and different places in Ohio. Because they have 3 or 4 or 5 cities up there that do them.
There's in Ohio, I know that there's the Columbus one, and Columbus is like the big one. There's a Cincinnati Expo, and I think there might be a third one that I'm not sure. Like I said, I mean, I'm like a 10-hour drive to Columbus, but I've been there the last couple of years, and I haven't seen a fishing expo that is this all-encompassing. Like, you've got catfish anglers there, you've got a ton of bass anglers there, you've got crappie, you've got booths that are set up specifically for crappie fishing. And I'm, when and our expos here in the Northeast, like we have the New England Fishing Expo, which is great, but it's very bass heavy. And then we have the Sportsman Show, which takes the fishing and it's wide open. So you'll have like saltwater charters, you'll have this, you'll have that, because again, we're in Massachusetts on the coast. But you have so many hunting charters and so many booths with like duck calls and stuff. So it's a little bit of a mix. This Columbus Fishing Expo is enormous. And it's a great way, like if for nothing, like go and obviously like, move some product and sell some jigs. That's the plan. But also like the networking that you could do with other folks in the industry is just, it's mind blowing, the people that you see. And it is. It's like,
and I'll tell you, that's my main reason for expos.
The networking, right?
I'm not really. I want to sell product at the expos, and I want to take money home with me. Of course, anybody would, but the marketing, the networking that you can do at these expos is just
priceless,
amazing.
Yeah,
and it's priceless. It's you know, and you know, I've pulled business that I did later on from these expos and stuff. But I want to hit the bigger ones like the Columbus Expo. I wish I could afford to go to ICAST. I can't afford $2,000 or $3,000 to set up in a booth space.
And I mean, honestly, like iCast is a whole other animal. It really is. Like, you're not even selling product at iCast. You're basically creating relationships with other retailers. But like, you've got to be able to turn over X number of units or something like that. It's one of those things where you might find yourself in a situation where you're like, crap, I got orders. You know, there's checks written that I can't cash. Like, there's a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. But I could definitely see you doing really well in Columbus. I think just getting the attention out there, and I think getting your product into some hands of anglers that fish these northern waters, because hair jigs I think that there's a lot of mystique in the bass fishing world from some folks, or maybe people think that hair jigs are a little old fashioned, but I feel like you're seeing a little bit of resurgence sometimes, you know, with some of these, and I think something like bait finesse fishing might make that a little bit more appealing for folks to be able to rig their tackle box and have that as an option to be able to throw. I know this year I'm going to be fooling around with it as well. But Tiny, this is absolutely awesome. Do me a favor and mention to the listeners like where you're most active on social media or anything like that, where they can follow you, how they can reach out if they've got any questions or anything like that. If you have anything coming up, down the pipe that you're planning on releasing or innovating or putting a twist on, go ahead and mention that. Promote yourself a little bit.
Okay, well, right now, the best place to get me on social media, it's two places. You can get me on at Tiny's Hand-Tied Hair Jigs on Facebook. They can, I've just actually started getting into more TikTok. So I'm now going to start doing lives on TikTok because I've got the amount of people I have to have. And so they can get me on TikTok, Facebook. On TikTok, I'm under Tiny's Jigs. Facebook, once again, it's Tiny's Hand-Tied Hair Jigs. And I already said in Alabama, they can actually find my product in retail locations. Happy Hollow Outdoors. And they can check. I'm not sure if they have a website where they market their products or not, but they can definitely find me in their stores. So, or I think it's on my Facebook page. My phone number is 662-710-3002. I love getting phone calls and texts and communicating with anglers because I'll sit and talk to an angler about fishing forever. And I do a lot of custom stuff. They don't just have to order what they see on my Facebook page or see me do on TikTok. They can call me and tell me what their favorite soft plastic is, and I'll look it up if I don't know and find out what the color scheme is, and I'll custom do their order to whatever they want. I could probably tie 300 or 400 different color schemes with the materials I buy, and I will say I use a lot of synthetic hair. People want to lean toward bucktail and kiptail.
Sure, but
these synthetic hairs they've got on the market now last so much better. And they have so much of a better flow than what some of the animal hairs do that they've been using for years. And so that's why I've leaned a lot toward synthetic hair as of late. And I do a lot of hackle feather. That's my main feather. Hackle feather and synthetic hair is what I tie primarily. But I'll tie anything they want. And any color they want, any hair they want. If I don't have it, I'll order it. Any size head they want. If I don't have it, I'll order it. And I'd like to say, too, I want them to be watching my Facebook page because in the very near future, and I can't say a lot about it now, but I'm going to be joining forces with a very, very large competitor in the industry right now.
Oh, that's great.
That is focused not just on crappie, but they're focused on crappie, bass, They have a product that I'll be using for just about every species out there. So, and I've done a lot of time. You talk about the up north,
yeah.
In Ohio and stuff. I've done a lot of time over the years. I don't have anybody right now, but I've had a lot of clients over the years in the walleye industry.
Yeah.
So my baits work well with walleye.
Oh, I bet.
Well with walleye.
I bet.
And but like I said, Facebook and TikTok is the best two social media areas to find me in.
Yep.
And then they can call me at that number I gave, and I'll be glad to I'll text pictures out of whatever type of baits they're looking for. I'll text them what I have to offer, and I'll throw in the other colors that I can do or whatever.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, hey, best of luck with your endeavor with tying hand-tied jigs. I mean, I think it's a cool product. I think you've got something. I think you definitely have something there with that hand-tied inline buzzbait for sure. And I'm probably gonna look around for some of your stuff myself just to try, because like I said, I am a finesse angler at heart, and hair jigs definitely fit the bill, and inline spinners for sure fit the bill. So we're gonna take a look and see what we got. But Tiny, thanks so much for being part of the show, man. Don't be a stranger. Keep me in the loop with what you have going on, and feel free to tag us, on any of your social media posts as well. And we have a Facebook group, Jigs and Bigs podcast community that you can join. I'll shoot you over an invite to that. Make sure you're a part of that, and you can share all your information over there with all the listeners and all the followers.
Yeah, I love being a part of this group.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love those groups. They're great.
Awesome.
And I've got your email. I'm going to send you some stuff on some of the stuff that you may not have found yet on my social media.
Definitely.
And some stuff that I think you'd be interested in the finesse world of baits.
Yep.
With the inlines and stuff like that.
Awesome, man. That'd be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Tiny, this is really, really great. You guys heard him. Go follow Tiny's Hand-Tied Jigs on Facebook. And if you're on TikTok, make sure to follow Tiny's Jigs over there. We'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Don't go too far. We got the live well coming up next. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Who says you can't be the topic of conversation for all the right reasons? The Hyundai Tucson Hybrid pairs bold presence with advanced technology and sleek style. It's everything you didn't know you needed in an SUV and then some. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
Alrighty, guys. Well, here we are, the Live Well, for another show as we wrap things up. We got 4 calls that came in this week specifically for actually 3 calls specifically for the live well. And this first one, I wasn't sure exactly where to put it. So I was like, I'm going to put this in the live well. I think that's what I'm going to do. It comes from Dave Urkey. And he had called. This was, I guess, this message came in right after we finished recording last week's segment or last week's show. So let's see what Dave's got to say.
Bobby, Joe, I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend on this Labor Day weekend. I don't even know. I guess I should call an FTG on myself because I just yelled at my family. I spent $20,000 2 years ago re-plumbing my entire house. And all of a sudden my plumbing backed up. So when I snaked the lines, I found army men, a small car, small makeup items, a tube of ointment, Q-tips, foam letters that stick on the bathroom wall, and a bunch of other miscellaneous stuff. Toddlers are awesome. Hope you guys enjoy this. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
So I have a follow-up to this.
Oh,
a friend of mine.
Okay.
A friend of mine just went through this recently. His toddler did the same thing, and their whole house backed up with sewage, and they were out of their house for 8 months while it got fucking completely gutted and redone.
That's rough. So he's kind of lucky he caught it when he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that can be very, very serious. That's rough.
Yeah,
dude.
they lived in a hotel for 8 months.
Oh.
They just went back to their house.
That sucks. That sucks big time.
Yep.
Big time. Oh, my God. Yeah, Dave. Well, happy Labor Day, man.
Get those toilet seat locks.
It's a good idea. It really is, man. And he's right. He's like, toddlers are amazing. It's true. It's true. Yep. And it's never ending for Dave because they're expecting now too. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. And speaking of which, we should probably give a little bit of congratulations. Brad Hicks from the Catch, the newest Hicks, has arrived.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Congrats.
Awesome.
Congrats, Brad. Let's John says, sounds like a wild night in a drunken plastic military furlough. Plastic army, a car, and various other items. Toy Story from hell. Toy Story behind the green door. Sorry. So most of you are too young to get that reference. I'm probably a little bit too young. By the way, Joe, Friday, this upcoming Friday, is my birthday. And it's hitting me. This is my last year of my 40s. Yeah. Which is kind of like, wow, okay. So there's a couple of things. Yeah, it is weird. It's very fucking weird. Very fucking weird. So this ought to be interesting. So my plan is I'm planning on going out of town. Initially I was going to go to PA, but there's a kayak adventure series happening down there, and I was hoping to collab with a couple of folks, but there's too much shit going on. So I think I'm going to end up staying a little bit more local. I might head out to the Cape. I might do some striper fishing.
There you go.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I might do some striper fishing. And Todd says, we had this conversation on the boat. He goes, just stop counting, Bobby. I'm like, I can't, man. I can't. I'm a numbers guy. It's crazy. And you know what's fucking wild? So I was at trivia. This was last Tuesday night, right? It was the first day I was out rocking this nice new going out hat, this Daiwa hat. And I go, and there's a guy who comes in and works the door, like just as trivia is closing. We're talking, and I said something, and he was like, well, how old are you, man? And I was like, dude, I'm going to be 50 in a little over a year. He's like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, I looked at him and I said, my usual line when I hear that, I was like, I know, the white in my beard makes me look fucking 60, doesn't it? He's like, no, I figured you were like 32. I'm like, you're a fucking liar. Like, you are a liar, dude, and not a good one. Let's get into our second call. This one comes in from Eli right here, and this one is, this is the one I think it is.
Hey guys, it's Eli. I've got something for you guys to look out for. It's called the Dry Buddy from Redux. It's a little portable device that goes into a bag. Essentially what it does is it creates a vacuum in that bag and will help get water out of electronics that have been dunked. So, Bobby, I know you dropped mics in the lake or dunked a mic in the lake will help with that. GoPros, phones, stuff like that. Their original product was meant for phones and laptops and stuff like that. Since then, they developed stuff like this. So that leads to my question for the live well. What are you guys using out in the water to keep electronics and stuff like that dry? Being in a kayak, I'm a little closer to the water, so it's really important for me to keep phone, key fobs, stuff like that, all dry. Is there anything in particular that you guys are using? Have a good day. Bye.
So I think it was that product I had looked into. There are some similar things, but I'm not sure if it's this. That product that's a great idea, but the statistics that they give is something around the effect of like X number percentage of devices were able to be saved, but there's an asterisk there. They need to be powered off when they got wet. And that's the difference. So, and I'm glad that he mentioned that product and everything and all that, and then asked what we do to keep things dry. Here's the thing. When it comes to the stuff that you're actively using, so like if I'm running a GoPro camera on the windshield of my console, right, and it is plugged into my USB port on my dash, and I'm watching that, and the rain starts coming in, what I do is I have a series of dry bags that because here's the thing, a lot of people think that like storage in a boat is dry. Oh, no, it's not. Some boats, like Joe's boat, is probably dry storage underneath. Yeah. My boat is not. When it rains, it gets wet in there. Like, it doesn't get sopping wet, but things will get wet. So I store the stuff that I leave in my boat all the time in dry bags. Some are PVC, like really, really nice dry bags, like the stuff that I keep my bibs in and my rain gear. I have one dry bag that's just got a bunch of like soft plastics and other baits that are still in packaging that I just keep in there. Just that way they're in there and they're dry. And when I need something, I can go and dig it out. But I have a dry bag that I keep that is off to the side where all of my cameras, when the rain starts, I can just grab that sucker, grab my microphones, everything, just cram it in that dry bag, roll it down, clip it. I could leave it out on the deck of the boat and it will stay dry in that bag, or I could tuck it back in storage where it normally would go. Depending on how long I think the rain is going to last, that's kind of what I do. Now, in a kayak, it's a little bit of a different situation. Like, it's tough when, because he's right. Key fobs, cell phone, stuff like that. Now, most cell phones, at least I think all iPhones, I think from iPhone 7 and to now, are waterproof to a certain level. So, dude, keep them. It's not about keeping them dry. It's about keeping them tethered. So with like a phone, I like to have that on a tether, like when I'm in my kayak, where it is tethered either to the boat or to myself, like on my PFD. And I just will keep it. I'll tuck it like under my PFD. Like right off to the side, something like that. Yeah. And it works great. It is awesome because then you can drop it and you know it's not going anywhere. So I think a tether for a phone is great. As far as keys and things like that, I keep my keys in my pocket. You know, I've got a truck that's got it's keyless ignition. So that fob just has to be on me, you know, so I generally just keep it in my pocket. I really don't worry so much about that. And my wallet, which, I have right here. This is my wallet. It's from Alpaca, non-spons, but wannabe spons. This wallet is waterproof. It's great. And I just clip my fob right on there. So it's one thing that I carry and that's it. And it's like, yeah, we're good to go. So I would say as far as key fobs and stuff, but it's something to be aware of. Apache makes some waterproof boxes. So like I have one that I keep a small straight blade knife. I keep a backup spare of pliers. I keep the socket for if I have to change a prop. I keep a handful of USB cables and other like random tools in this little waterproof box from Apache. And I just keep that cinched up. I leave it on the floor of the boat, you know, and it's fine. Or I'll tuck it in one of my storage areas too. Something like that, that'll work great. There's a lot of products that you can look at that are just ideally like a box with some type of weather gasket around the side will help, or a dry bag. Dry bags are way worth their weight in gold, I think. Especially the PVC ones, they'll last forever, you know. And this is another tip that I'll say that has come into play big time. And this was a tip that it was Matt Thayer. He's going to be our next call, but he called in a while ago. The silica drying packets.
Yeah, I do that.
You can order a bunch of them and put them in all your tackle boxes, and it's because of this comment right here that John, he says, moisture is a bitch. Sometimes it's not even like actually like pooling water inside something, but you get that warm air and it condenses. That moisture is going to cause things to rust, and you put one of those silica packets in there, and I put one in every single dry bag, and I put one in every single box that I have that's waterproof. That way I've got a little bit more assurance that it's going to stay dry. Let's go through some of these. He goes, Todd says, every single electronic that I've lost to water damage, I lost to the bottom of the lake. Yeah. And I think that's got more to do with like it being tethered than just getting wet. Davy Jones has an Android, a Garmin handheld. Oh God, that sucks. And then John chimes in here, says, only time keys in the pocket sucks is when you're doing shit and you randomly keep hearing your horn honk.
Oh yeah. I'm notorious for that.
Awful. That happened one time. I was hitching the trailer and it was like 3:30 in the morning. Oh, and I was crouched down and I had my keys in the pocket of my hoodie. Right. Yep. And I was crouching down, plugging in the wiring harness. Right. And my fat fucking belly pushed up against my leg and squeezed my remote fob at like 3 a.m. and it's just like, like, you motherfucker. Oh, that's God. Funny. Yeah, I was like, fuck. Although since I've lost the amount of weight that I have, I haven't had that problem lately, which is nice.
That's good.
I'm going to take that. Good. Yeah, I'm going to take that for sure. We have one more call from Eli coming in, but first let's hear from Matt Thayer. Matt Thayer with a good one.
Gentlemen, Matt Thayer here. Question for the live well. So I hear, especially Bobby talk about his BFS stuff. So every other bait I hear you guys talk about is like a finesse version of a bait. So like a finesse shatter bait and a finesse swim bait. So when does, my question being is, when does something become quote unquote finesse? And what distinguishes the term usage of finesse versus power? So like you got a power swim bait or a power chatter bait instead of a finesse swim bait. I don't know. Just a question I've had rolling around in the back of my head. Sorry I missed the slot tournament yesterday. Congratulations to everybody who won. I just couldn't swing it on a Labor Day weekend. But I will, I should be able to swing it in September, and I'll be looking out for everybody. All right? Talk to you soon. See ya.
So I want to say, I want to swap the word power with conventional.
Yeah.
I don't think that, like, I think that power is a bizarro kind of term for that. I want to swap that though for conventional. That's the only change I want to make to that statement, because I think that's a really great question. Sure. So the other thing too is that I also want to say there's a lot of things that folks say in the fishing world, in the fishing universe, that are terms that get used freely, sometimes maybe even a little bit too freely, like things like power in action. When it comes to rods, people will say like, it's a fast action, or it's a heavy power, and it's like, or what am I saying? They'll say it's a heavy action, and or something like that. And we know what they mean. You know what I mean? Like, we know what they mean, but it's like they just get used oddly. And I think that in some ways, finesse is one of those terms that overall gets used for something that is just slightly downsized. You know what I mean? And I think that it's going to depend on the angler, or if not even anything else, it would depend on the type of fishing where that line can change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is just my take on it. I think when something becomes finesse and when something becomes conventional, for me, it's at 3/16 of an ounce.
Okay.
For me, that's what it is. If you go over to a 1/4 ounce, say, that's conventional size. But if you're at 3/16 and below, you're in that finesse world. And I say that doesn't mean that like you can't have lighter conventionally sized things, because I'm even catching myself as I'm saying this, like it also goes in terms of size profile, not necessarily just weight. So I'm going to use I'm going to call it 3.5 inches for plastics. If you're over 3.5 inches or 3.5 inches and above, you're a conventional size. You might be small, but you're a conventional size. If you're under 3.5 inches, that becomes more of a finesse size.
Okay.
And it's not a rule that is like most things that are hard and fast, because there are 4-inch baits that I will trim to fit a 3/16 ounce bladed jig that I'm throwing. You know what I mean? Sure. It's not one of those things necessarily that's like hard. Like sometimes you got to bulk something up, so you might use a larger plastic. And that's the thing. This is one of those areas where that relationship in fishing, where science and art are coming together, and sometimes the art takes the control when it comes to selecting baits and combining those things.
Yep.
You know? What do you think, Joe? Like, what's your take on it?
It's something I think that can get overcomplicated way too fast. So the way I look at it, if I'm throwing it on a casting setup, that's more of a standard conventional setup. If I'm throwing it on my spinning rods, that's a finesse setup for me.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. It's weird because like there are, like, I will throw 1/4 ounce baits on my my drop shot rod.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about, like, if I'm making like bomb ass casts with like a 3.5 inch swim bait, and I'm this may be how I fish for stripers, honestly, depending on where we go, so it's weird.
For me,
it's that art, like if that is a finesse setup.
So you just hit it. What I was going to say. Finesse is more of a speed technique for me versus a size.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. Well, and actually it's funny because do you consider fishing a jig power fishing?
No way.
If you're fishing a half ounce jig.
Kind of.
Okay.
If I'm punching a heavy jig into a slop where it turns, for me, like in my mind, I'm trying not to overcomplicate it. I've never thought about this until this second. So if I'm sitting dragging a jig on some structure, whatever, more like open water, no, that's not power fishing. It's fucking boring as fuck, but it catches fish.
Definitely.
But if I'm punching shit, like if I'm constantly, just punching, letting it drop, bringing it back in, punching like heavy ass, then that I guess that could be considered power fishing.
See, I have this weird way of looking at, and maybe it's just me that's fucked up, but I consider the speed that you're able to cover an area coming into play. So if you stop at a laydown and you're flipping a jig into every single bunch of branches that come together trying to find fish, that is finesse fishing.
Yeah.
If you're taking that laydown and swimming a swim jig around the outside, that's power fishing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All
like it's odd. Like I feel like there's variables, and it's gonna change depending on everybody. So like you have types of fishing, but like when we're talking about, like I think specifically in Matt's relationship, like I look at like when we're talking about baits, like what makes something a finesse bait versus something that's like technique. You nailed it. Like technique is definitely one of those things, like how you use it, but also like the minigun's a great example. Okay, because the minigun's kind of an anomaly. It's a finesse-y conventional size spinnerbait.
Sure.
So it's still that half ounce, still that big beefy hook, still will hold like that large trailer, but it's a single willow blade on a smaller wire. So in that sense, it is a little bit more subtle, than having two blades or larger blades spinning around. So it's like, it's sort of one of those things. I think that oftentimes and I like that Matt kind of called it out on what it is, because I think there are ways to fish finesse tactics, and then I think that there are just like finesse-y baits, smaller, more subtle baits.
Yep.
I know. I'm curious. Like our listeners, you guys should. You know what? If you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Like, do you agree with what we're saying, or is there something that we're missing, and maybe we should take into consideration? Because it really is. That's the magic about fishing. It's like it's crazy. You could look at you could take the same lure, right? The same like half ounce double willow spinnerbait, right, with a 4-inch trailer on the back, and say like that is a conventional power fishing technique for bass.
Yeah.
But for muskie, that might be finesse as fuck.
Yeah. I think it's more crazy. Of kind of like a personal preference of how you look at it versus like a generalized statement.
It is. It's kind of tough. And I like that because Matt makes us think like that. He likes to take these things down. Matt Thayer of Klondike Custom Creations fame. So we got one more call in here, and is an Eli call. And this is a really short one. I'm not sure. Let's just dive in and take a look, see what we got from Eli here.
Hey, just was out fishing today in a river, and was wondering, I think we were thinking about, people always talk about matching the hatch with color.
Yes.
How important is it to match the hatch when it comes to size of the bait fish as well? Have a good night. Bye.
I have a very, very strong answer with this.
Go for it.
I think it's more important than color.
I agree, 100%.
I think having your bait match the size of what they're eating is even more important than color.
Yeah,
Yep.
To be honest, even with me, because I've had the opportunity to fish bait balls on my forward facing sonar and seeing kind of the size and whatever, to the point too where I've seen I'm fishing it and I see they hit a fish, they miss it, and then the thing floats up like a bait fish.
Yep.
And I've had the most luck upsizing slightly to make a certain bait hey, that one's a little bigger than the rest. Let me go for that one.
I was going to say there are different schools of thought there. There are folks that will say like, oh yeah, if you make it, I'll give you a perfect example. When people put together an Alabama rig, right? There's a lot of people that in that center hook, they'll put either a larger swim bait or a different color. And they'll do that to draw attention. So it's like, hey, that one's different. I'm going to go get that one, and it kind of gets them. But also I've heard from other people that are just like, if you can downsize, the fall rate can sometimes make that bait stand out a little bit from the circle, and they might get smashed there. So it's like, you got to base it on your own experience. But I think overall, if you got to key that in, because you can throw the wrong color and that might get you bit.
Oh yeah.
Because it might be what stands out, Yep. It's crazy. Yep. John Higgins chimes in right here. He goes, definitely match the size. He says, if they're eating tiny shad, then that's where you go. They're honed in on the smaller bait. And, there are times where like you might want to just like throw something. Like, I'll give an example. This was a situation where I was on Winnipesaukee with my dad, and he was throwing these shiners he was throwing were like 3.5 inches, something like that. Maybe 4 inches at length. Some of the bigger ones, the shiners he was trolling around. And when he lost that one giant, right, my first instinct was to throw a 6-inch mag draft. And it was for the ability to get seen from a distance and call fish out to that bait, and it worked. It worked on like that second cast. Like that's what I was thinking. I was like, this is large and it's white, and it'll show up in this water, and hopefully that tail is just subtle enough where it'll get their attention, but seem natural enough where somebody will smoke it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. Like you got to kind of be in that ballpark. And you know, it's funny. I was showing off the Big Joshy. Have you seen the Big Joshy guppies yet, Joe?
No.
They're awesome. They're fucking awesome.
Let me look.
Yeah, there's. I think they're in the Creek box. The one that Ryan Parker painted on it from Cheryl Bentley from Dark Horse Tackle.
Oh, I don't think I got that one.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you know what, dude? I would recommend like if you're listening to the show, that box is fucking awesome. Like it's got great stuff in there. But like the guppies and the mule fishing, the bugs that are in there are just dynamite. But I would say, oh yeah, you're right. Not guppy. They're gobies. They're gobies.
Oh, okay. All right, then yes.
You have? So
yeah.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you. Your boy's brownie from last night is still brownieing a little bit, so we'll leave that. But I'll tell you, like, they're just awesome. But like Benny and I were talking about it. He was like, he's like, dude, gobies up here work great. And he's like, we don't really have like in all these bodies of water, like a goby population, but they work awesome. And I was like, that's the whole thing, man. It's bait fish, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's wild. It's funny. I don't really think about color for much other than like water visibility. Like how easy is this for them to see? So like clear shit, I'm throwing as natural as I can, you know, for minnows, lots of dark colors, you know, green pumpkin is a go-to for me. I'll accent with chartreuse or orange or red with markers if I need to.
Yeah.
If I'm fishing a body of water and like it's dingy, then I'm throwing like black or white, you know?
Yep.
Or chartreuse. I like chartreuse all the time, but oh man, that was really good. What a good show.
It was
a really solid show this week. I feel like, you know, I mean, fall fishing is starting to get there. You know, the water temps are starting to drop.
It's going to rear its head quick.
And you know, the September slump, I mean, yesterday was pretty damn good, but fucking Thursday was rough. So who knows what's going to happen as we get through it. But one of my favorite times of year is the month of October. Like,
yes.
That's when you really you see absolutely less wreck boaters. And it's funny, Benny actually put up a post. He had was out on the water. This was earlier this week. And he was like, look at that. There's no wreck boats. There's no wake boats, no jet skis. He's like, this is great. I love fall fishing. And then later that same day, water skier comes by and almost freaking takes him out in the kayak. He's just like, fuck you. So I was like, I'm telling you, man, people get this idea about September is fall. I was like, it's not until like that last week of September that fall kicks in. I'm like, you know, my birthday's in the summer, baby.
Summertime and living's easy.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Oh, my God. All right, let's wrap this sucker up.
Yep.
You guys are the absolute greatest. Thank you so much. Remember, do yourself a solid and go visit both Jigs and Bigs and American Vet Fishing on YouTube. Follow our socials on Instagram, on TikTok, all that stuff. And if you're catching any fish, do us a favor and tag us. You know, Joe and I have a contest that we have to go and judge some fish for to give away some prizes. And I gotta design a T-shirt and get that sucker up and ready too. So that's all happening this week. I got payouts to do for this next tournament. Oh my God. And I have to prep the entire month of October. I got 3 events happening in October. What the hell is actually going to happen, folks? I'm about to jump off a cliff into the YouTube 90-day blow up my channel challenge. So do your boy a favor and go and follow. We'll see you guys in 7 days with more fishy content. We're looking to stock up the schedule on the beef seat and get as many folks in here participating as much as possible. And the roundtables will be back this winter and much, much, much more structured. You guys have yourself a good one. Catch some fish. And like we always say,
Dixon ass, smoke some grass.